Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Director Watch, an AwardsWatch podcast that attempts to get inside the mind of cinema's greatest actors, explore what drives them, and maybe we go on a few unrelated tangents along the way. I'm Ryan McQuade, the executive editor here at AwardsWatch, and joining me, as always, is the man from Mars, my co-host, Jay Ledbetter.
Ryan, the Paul Verhoeven march goes on. We're talking Total Recall. And we've got a guest so good today, it feels like it's almost an implanted memory. Like it can't be real. Like I feel like I paid for the idea of this guest being on the show.
It's been way too long since we've had this guest on.
Returning guest,
summertime guest. He's got his shorts on. He's sitting under an umbrella right now. He's got what's your drink of choice? What's your drink of choice?
Old fashioned.
He's got an old fashioned on the beach.
Be honest, he comes back for the fellas.
And when you guys listened to him on the last Boy Scout episode, we knew we had to have him back. Diego Crespo, welcome back to Director Watch, man. How you doing?
Thank you guys for having me back. I had a great time talking last Boy Scout. I'm super excited to be here today. You guys are the best. And thank you for saying the summer vibes. That is the vibe I like to cultivate this time of year as a Southern Californian born and raised.
Yeah.
An Angelino. Like I do love the sun. I don't like the gloom. I don't like the shade too often. I get me out there. I want to be on the beach. I want to be on the boardwalks, you know.
Well, you guys got the best weather in the world. Like anytime I go out there,
the fires are a problem.
I mean, the fires, were a problem.
It's been a rough year, I'll be honest. You know,
I mean, what else is going to happen in Los Angeles? It's like shit.
Might have to move to Mars eventually. The way things are going.
You know, if anyone said right now in Los Angeles, if somebody like made a wish on a star or something, but like this year is going to be our year, you really fucked it up for everybody else. You know that? Like, just going to point that out there. Like a friend of mine, this is a true story. Not to go on a tangent, but that's what we do on the show.
Go for it.
You
talking about Elon?
No, I'm not talking about Elon. Is back in 2019, we were having a New Year's celebration going into 2020, and a friend of ours that we love near and dear, my wife and I, she said, 2020 guys, it's gonna be our year. And we all just sat around there and went like, you know what? I think she's right. We're positive energy. 2019 was good. Yeah. And then the fucking pandemic happened. And we have made fun of her for 5 years about that. And so anytime something feels bad within the timeline.
Love a 5-year-old anecdote.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Someone screwed up in Los Angeles and ruined it for the rest of them.
And what I'm just saying is Elon's going to colonize Mars, guys.
Would you go?
Gonna happen.
No. No.
Then don't.
If I found an ancient alien reactor that created unlimited oxygen on Mars, I'd consider it.
Unlimited?
But that's what they do in this movie.
Do you mean like in Wicked, where it's like unlimited?
I've heard of Wicked for good, but
yeah, Mars
quality air for good?
Yeah. It's like clean up everything. That'll get rid of all the global warming, right? And then there go the fires. There you go.
Tony Scott, Paul Verhoeven, Diego, are we pigeonholing you?
I don't think so. Okay. Because these are among my boys for sure. You know?
What's your favorite film directed by a woman?
Name a woman.
Hang on. It's Point Break by Catherine Bigelow, obviously.
Well, that's the correct answer. We'll have Diego on that for next year.
Yeah. Is it too pretentious if I'm like News from Home by Chantal Akerman?
No, that's not pretentious at all. That's a great answer.
No. Okay.
That's a great answer.
You know what? My base after my bad joke.
To be fair, there are a lot of other podcasts out there that have not even heard or seen that. They haven't even seen Portrait of a Lady on Fire, let alone that movie. You know, listening to stuff. And I realized, I'm like, wow, people have podcasts and they're not educated on the subjects they're talking about.
Diego, we covered Kozlowski. All right, we're out here. We're representing all corners.
Yeah,
you know?
we don't.
We're diversifying our portfolio.
And if anything, Paul Verhoeven diversifies his own portfolio, for Christ's sake. Because he goes from...
I haven't told you guys this because I just hopped on, but like this is like an insane person to try to do like a retrospective on. Like, you guys realize that, right?
I mean, he is...
He's like too boring and normal.
Yeah.
He's so normal.
Super chill, right?
All of his movies are exactly the same if you think about it.
Oh my God, he's like where's he from again? He's from
It's from the Netherlands.
so he's the Netherlands version of Martin Scorsese. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, who
Yeah.
only
He just
makes the
who
same-
only makes gangster movies.
He only makes gangster movies. That's such the laziest fucking argument when people do that stuff too, by the way.
Well, Verhoeven only makes
80s schlock.
perverted movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Say
only
that.
a pervert.
That's
Yeah.
fine. I think
that
that's correct.
one is actually true.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair, but also like good.
Yeah, no, they
Because
are
we,
great.
I'm gonna say this, controversial. We need more perverts in movies. You know what I mean? Making sick
Not
things.
in Hollywood itself.
Not in Hollywood in general. We got rid of all those.
But
I'm talking about like
yeah,
people
all
that are
of them
pushing
definitely gone.
boundaries. Like this is a weirdo. These are weird. This is a weirdo getting control of hundreds of $1 million to make movies. And you know, I think like we need unique voices. Like him.
I think
like
that's
David
a better way
Lynch.
of putting it. Unique voices.
Well, you know, I liked my version too.
I just want him to make his movie, his next movie.
Who?
The Verhoeven. His,
Oh, I thought you were talking about David Lynch. I'm like, well, buddy, I don't know.
Well,
what to tell
I
you.
would like that as well, but unfortunately,
Diego, you read all about like
the time
Lynch's
is coming
project. Like that he
Oh
was.
God, yeah. I mean,
Is that-
talking about how tough it was for LA this year. It's like not to trivialize it, but it did feel like a little like mythical that like LA was basically burning down for like weeks, and then David Lynch passed. I was like, oh, this is like. I'm not religious. I don't believe in astrology bullshit. Whatever. It's not bullshit if you like it. I'm just saying.
I mean,
not for me. I mean,
No,
maybe
yeah.
it is, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
not.
don't know.
I'm not here to poke the bears. But I just think like, wow, that felt like the end of an era. Like, oh, this is not going to be the same.
it
When
did.
this calms down, and
It felt like a little like when we lost Bowie and Prince within the matter of a couple weeks. Like somebody was
Yeah.
remind me of that.
You know,
I
what
think it
was one of
Brian
the
Tallerico
great
that-
joys of life was thinking that maybe another David Lynch thing was coming out.
You know what the great joy of a couple years ago was when you watch The Fablemans and he shows up as John Ford, and you're
I mean,
like,
that was incredible.
and you're
stuff.
just like, wow, this. And Spielberg had the knowledge to say the greatest director of all time is about to walk in the room, and it's David Lynch playing John Ford, and it's like kind of right on both accounts if you want to be fair. And
You know who made the sequel to Total Recall?
who
Steven Spielberg.
that's right.
he did?
Oh no,
We'll talk
no,
about
oh
it.
my God,
We'll talk about it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We got to get
Yeah.
into that.
Oh
I
my
mean,
god!
do we do it now?
I mean, we can do it right now.
I
If
mean,
you
do we
want.
do it now? They were
Yeah.
going to make Total Recall too.
Okay, but they didn't.
Verhoeven was.
Oh, Verhoeven was.
It fell through.
Yeah.
I think everybody was relatively excited about it, and it was based on a story by Philip K. Dick called The Minority Report.
Okay.
And it was
And-
going to be a story in which I believe Arnold Schwarzenegger's character would become sort of the head of that organization. And there is some implied clairvoyance of the mutants in this film, which would be the basis of the, what do they call them? Precogs? Yeah, of the precogs for a sequel to Total Recall, which would have been pretty interesting. But you know what rocks? Minority Report.
Definitely
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm sad we didn't get to see that because Verhoeven's never done a sequel. But I mean, Spielberg's Minority Report's
They rule.
fucking incredible.
You know who I want? I want
Dark Spielberg era. That was where it was at.
I want Cruise and Spielberg to work again together.
Well,
They should.
he's got to have to get in line between after Inarritu, unfortunately.
Well, McQuarrie and him evidently are making like 3 more movies, and one of them's like I think they're still doing the space thing. So
Oh, thank God.
you know,
Thank God he's still working with McQuarrie.
did you see the new Mission Impossible yet?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to see it
Okay.
tomorrow.
Diego,
I did see it.
did you like it?
I liked
Some of it.
everything after the first hour mostly.
Whoa! Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you were saying you didn't like everything after the first hour.
No, that would
Whoa.
be crazy. The like almost
first hour
unanimously
is-
The
terrible
part that everyone hates is the thing that he likes the most.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like what a twist!
What
by
he loves
Diego.
about Mission Impossible is
exposition.
the dialogue.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I agree with you, Diego. It's a massively flawed movie, but I still, because it's mission and it's these characters, I would much rather have this than like a lot of other crap in Hollywood, but it's not still good. enough to
Yeah,
the
like
standard that they've met before.
no, no, and I mean I could bring this back to Verhoeven with this because I
Yeah,
think McQuarrie's such an expert at like the gears and mechanics of a narrative and set pieces, and like he's been able to work backwards from the set pieces for the last three movies.
yeah,
I don't think he's always been as successful. I'm not huge on these last two missions in
yeah.
general.
Mm.
Um,
I think he kind of.
Especially seven. I don't know what happened. I don't know what movie people are talking about when they talk about that movie. You know what I mean?
I think you're right. I think that he ended it, or at least ended his run of it with Fallout. He had like a two film
Yeah.
arc. It's the Elsa arc. It's the Solomon Lane arc. It's really
Yeah.
great. It's fantastic. Both those movies, A pluses.
So you guys are like not a huge fan of track 7 on In Rainbows.
I no, I think
Not
that
huge reckoners.
I I think the problem is like I
I just
think
looked up the track listing for
what's
In
number seven
Rainbows
on
to
what's
figure out which number it was.
what is
Reckoner.
it? Reckoner. Well, that's your favorite.
Because you're not Reckoners. Yeah, it's my favorite song on the
All
album.
right, there it is. God damn it. All right.
Well,
Anyway,
well, McQuarrie isn't as attuned to, I guess, crafting a narrative that can work on a bunch of different levels. Like he's
yeah,
got these ideas that Cruise obviously
Mhm.
brings. You've got the whole like replacing of human pilots in Top Gun Maverick. You got the whole like replacing of humanity idea, and I do think it's an
yeah,
idea. I don't know how effective it is in the motions of the films, these last two Reckoning films.
yeah.
And someone like Verhoeven, I think, if you gave him more money than God,
Oh
he could
man,
have probably made a really compelling movie about the entity as the
man, he
antagonist.
could have made a great Mission
Okay,
Impossible movie.
here's a question.
Yeah,
We're gonna use this to vault into talking about the movie that we're
Jay's
supposed to be
truly
talking
trying to
about.
keep me on track today.
Uh,
I'm in the zone of like just spitballing, and he's
how
just like,
many
go.
Mission Impossible movies are better than Total Recall?
Uh,
I think the answer is 0.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
two.
Okay. I'm
Which
very
ones are
curious
those?
what they might
Fallout
be.
and 1?
Yeah,
I
Okay.
can live with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Those are my favorites as well.
It's because, and also to be fair, I mean, Total Recall rules, but Fallout's like really personal to me, and
And Colin Farrell's great in it.
oh, and Total Recall.
Yeah.
Um, no, not that one,
I
not that one, Jay.
forgot.
But I think also the first one too, just what De Palma's doing there. To your point, Diego, like I mean, they relatively come out around the same time, the first mission and Total Recall, and I think what's so great about this film and that first mission is you feel the director really pushing a genre forward and using this giant cash money blockbuster to still make an art house film inside of it and a really fun, sleek thriller from De Palma. It's one of his best. And that one gets still better with age. Like it's I think people kind of underrate the first Mission Impossible because it doesn't have the death defying stunts or the all the rigmarole of like 2 and 3 and all this other stuff. But the first one's just so great. And then Fallout's just amazing. But then
It
like
is great.
yeah,
I mean, you watch one and you're kind of like the thrills from this movie come from artistic decisions,
yeah.
and the other ones are
come-
like, you know what else is cool
They
though?
come
A
from
guy
Dutch
hanging off the
angles.
side of a plane.
Yeah.
That's cool as well.
Yeah. I mean, they're
But
both great. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They have their own ways. I just, yeah. Jay, when you see that movie, please let me know what you think. Cause,
I will not.
oh, okay. No, no.
All
See,
right.
see, you ask and you get it answered sometimes on this show.
At least
Do
he's
you-
honest.
At least, yeah, well, sometimes we'd like him to be a little bit less, but you can't change him. Diego, thank you for being here and doing
for
the
having me.
show. We're not done yet. It sounds like I'm wrapping you up, but we're
I
not.
was like, oh, okay, yeah, that was Total Recall, everyone. Thank you.
I usually ask every guest, as you know, when we start off a series, their relationship with the director, and and then what you've like, what you don't like, maybe about Paul Verhoeven. I feel like, though, like Jay and myself, he's a little bit in the bag for you. He's like one of your guys. So what about Verhoeven are you attracted to as a filmmaker and as a movie fan?
I mean, it's his ability to meld the ideas with like cinematic form. Because lots of people have ideas. Fucking Marvel movies have ideas. I mean, and that might shock people, but it's like, is the form always matching that? Like, no, they're not operating on a bunch of different levels, and that's totally harder, like, said than done, or it's easier said than done for sure. But he can also craft like a really engaging thriller. He can make movies really sexy. He can make movies very colorful and lively. He could show you something like Total Recall, like that you've never really seen before on that scale at the time, and even now. Like I listened to the commentary between Arnold and Verhoeven,
I
and
listened to that today. Yeah.
oh, it's incredible.
It's
It's
so
like
funny because Arnold's just like, this scene is incredible. I love this part of the movie. And Verhoeven is like, this is really where he feels the isolation of his human experience. Oh, I love this. He puts the thing up his nose. It's incredible.
and Arnold describes his own acting process as like the scene is occurring, which is like very interesting because like no, we got it, dude. You're like you did a good job.
Because
Because
it was
like
it was recorded years later.
yeah.
Yeah. And so I think Arnold was like, oh, I didn't remember how good this movie is.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll just wrap it up for Verhoeven. Like, he's such a unique voice who's also very forward thinking. He's very politically minded. It's not even just that I agree with his politics that makes him interesting. There's plenty of artists I like whose politics are horrendous. Um, but he's well read. He doesn't just draw from cinema to make cinema, and I think that's a very big problem right now we're having. And that's for a lot of reasons. It's not just because movies are weird right now. There's whole political aspects of that, but he never stops trying to evolve. Like his whole thing after not doing RoboCop 2 and then doing this movie wasn't that this movie was in line first. He said no to RoboCop 2 because he's like, I said everything I had to say there. I don't know what else to do with that movie. I would make it worse. And he didn't diss anyone who made future RoboCop movies. He was just like, I don't know what to do there. Not my bag. And then he does this. And it's its own great work of art. And I would argue his best of his science fiction movies.
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
You know what else? You know, one of the other
bold
reasons he
statement.
didn't make
I don't have to
RoboCop 2 is that he wanted to stray away from effects-driven films. And then his next movie was maybe the greatest showcase of practical effects ever made. I think there were like 5 all-time effects in this movie. It's unbelievable.
like practical effects, you mean?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
okay.
call them whatever you want to call them. Effects. Yeah.
You think this is like the best effects movie of all time?
It is up there for me. I mean,
Okay.
you look at
I'm
some
not
of the
disagreeing with
set
you.
pieces in
I'm
this
just
movie.
curious your thought process, Jay.
Yeah, it's like this in Green Lantern, I think.
Yeah. Oh, what a winner.
This and
Yeah.
Jonah Hex for me is really
I mean, honestly, I
lonesome.
mean, what do you put it up there with? Like Big Trouble in Little China?
Yeah,
Which
I mean,
was also written or co-written by the same writer.
Yep. Same guy. I mean,
we-
Jurassic Park, obviously
Jurassic
revolutionary.
Park. I mean, Star Wars.
The Thing.
The first Star Wars. The
Which
Thing.
film? What was that film you just said, Ryan?
Star Wars.
Star Wars?
Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty important.
That
as
was
well.
pretty
Good point.
important. Not the Venom.
But really,
the
like,
original,
but really,
honestly.
like Empire, the Tauntauns, and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
No, I mean you're not wrong.
No. I mean, I'm being serious.
I know. I know when you're not fucking around. But then like, yeah, I mean like modern movies, it's like The Matrix and Lord of the Rings, which we talked about in the Jackson series, like that pushed the medium forward there in best and worst ways.
T2.
T2. T2.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
because Cameron, like Big Jim's always pushing it forward. I mean, that's what Avatar is all about now. You know.
But this one, you know what's crazy about this is it takes, there's the very famous scene where the, stop motion Arnold is playing with his face in Terminator.
Yeah.
And this does a very similar thing with the thing going up his nose. It
Yeah.
looks so good.
It looks so good. And it's
It looks
aged
so
really well.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I actually think, to your point, Jay, because when we talk about some of these films, we talk about effects, we talk about makeup, we talk about prosthetics, we talk about all these things, the practicality of it. Have they aged well? And
there's still a lot of artifice to this
yeah,
movie.
but it fits within the world, and the stuff that's in it really is effective. I mean, like when they're like at the end of the film and they're like choking on air, and it looks like they're like halfway to Skeleton Town. Like it looks
No,
incredible.
I mean, the greatest showcase is the 2 weeks lady's face coming apart in pieces.
Yeah, that's pretty good too.
I mean, that is unbelievable.
No, I
It's
thought you were going to
so
say something
good.
else, and I was going to say you're a sick man. So,
I mean,
I'll
you were
say
just
this.
talking about
Let me.
perverts.
Can I get this out of the way right now?
you want to get
I'm
it
not-
out of the way now?
I'm not gonna bring it up again
Okay.
the entire time. Sharon Stone in this movie is in like the Babe pantheon.
Oh,
Like,
that's
just,
not
like,
where I thought he was going.
No, me
babe,
neither.
No?
the Babe of babes.
That's not
I
where
mean,
I
just
thought. Diego,
all-time babe.
did you think
No.
he was going there?
No,
I did
not at
not
all.
think he was
Not at
going
all.
there. I
No.
mean, Jay, do you want to get the other one out of the way?
I actually don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, come on. You want to get it out
Yeah,
of
I
the
mean,
way?
a
Breasted
great effect as well. The three-breasted woman.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable stuff. Very memorable.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna say Sharon Stone when she, like gets the straps around her wrists. I mean, forget about it.
Is she at that point then, Jay, for you an important
She's
person?
an important person. She's an absolute
Diego,
babe of
when-
babes. Never
when
been
we talk-
hotter than Total Recall.
Diego, I don't know if you've listened to the show since your last time on here, buddy, but when we talk about people that we have affection for, we say that they are an important person to us,
Important
and that's
people,
the
yeah.
important
Sharon Stone,
people.
important
Try to be
person.
classy about it in a way that's not sick. You know what I mean?
Respectful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's respectful. There's
Yeah.
there's a tip of the hat.
Can you maybe read some subtext behind that?
Sure.
Maybe isn't quite as flattering.
No,
Yeah.
sure, yeah. Yeah,
But that's
definitely.
your mind going there, not ours. You
Yeah.
know what I mean, listeners?
We're all about the
That
text.
being said,
That's why we love
you
Verhoeven,
were
because we're all about the
correct.
text.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diego, for you, Sharon Stone?
Yeah, she's remarkable in this film as an actress, and then is one of the most beautiful women alive in the film.
Diego,
She's
do you have,
breathtaking.
not to go on a tangent, even though we're talking about Total
Go for
Recall,
it. Yeah, whatever.
I usually ask the guests this as well, too, when we get to this point, because usually it comes up every now and then. Do you have like a top person right now on your important person
You're
list?
saying your most important person right now?
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's okay to say it.
I will go back.
Oh,
Okay.
Tangentially to Tony Scott.
Okay.
We're going into Michael Bay's filmography. When I first saw Bad Boys 2, I thought Gabrielle Union was the most beautiful woman on planet Earth, and I still
man.
think that.
yeah.
Dwayne
Shout
Wade.
out Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
congratulations.
Dwayne Wade. Yeah,
You're
good for
welcome.
him. Good for him.
I hope she's very happy.
like,
Truly, yeah.
yeah, like it's
Great
all right.
actress.
It's all right.
Hope
You
she's
go,
happy
you
as
go
well.
to Dwayne Wade. Yeah, they're probably billionaires at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure they're
You know?
very well off. Yeah.
Yeah, she sort of just stopped working.
She didn't need to work.
Yeah,
you know what I
exactly.
mean? She's a business lady. She's got a lot of investments. She's
Yeah.
like A-Rod. They've A-Rod's somebody that has like way too much money. And you're like, how?
He like bought a stake in the Timberwolves.
I know he did. He's
Yeah.
huge. But she's got a lot of like
Gabrielle Union,
Business.
very beautiful woman.
very beautiful woman.
So
Yeah.
for you guys, it's Sharon Stone now for both of you.
I wouldn't say like and that's my top tier.
No, I mean my
Okay.
number one is and has been for like 7 years, Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that. Yeah.
That gets it. I'm in the
A1 tops.
Adria Arjona phase of my
Oh,
you're
yep.
going there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
I'm in that phase of my life. I saw her. I try not to brag about this too much to Jay's face, but I was recently at the Cannes Film Festival.
Oh,
I
And-
saw that. Yeah.
you were
and-
where?
See, because he does this, and this is why. But there was this really. She had a movie there. It's not very good. I didn't really like it. A lot of people did. I hated it. It was a movie called Splitsville, from the guys that did The Climb, and it's got those two guys.
The
And
Climb
then
was all right.
yeah, this is like terrible. The Climb was good though, and then it's got Dakota Johnson and Arjona in it, and in the theater we sat. I can sit in the balcony or below, and we sat in the balcony, and we looked over because like right at the view to see them all come in to the theater because it was also a regular screening, but also their premiere at the same time, and I think we kind of just froze in time when she walked into the room and onto the stage and to present the film because I was like, wow, that is a breathtakingly beautiful, person of
It
the
is
opposite
crazy
sex.
when you see a very, very famous actress and you're like a different species. Like
Charlize Theron was that for me. I feel
like you look recognizable on a screen, but in real life you look
This is
like
ridiculous.
something else.
Yeah, this has got to be stopped.
It's silly. Anyway, can I offer my grand thesis on Total Recall?
Well, first of
Yeah,
all,
yeah.
let Diego go first.
Well,
He is
I
the
was just gonna
guest.
say I
Jay.
was gonna go to bat for you, Ryan, about Cannes because I visited right when they were doing the film festival, and that was like completely tangential. I didn't even like step foot in the actual like main theaters
Mhm.
for the festival. I went to a short film festival across the street, tangentially
Oh,
related
cool.
there. Super
Call
cool,
it
straight
tin,
It's
A.
a nice
tin,
place.
Tin
It-
can.
Yeah, if you're into Super 8 short films,
Oh, that sounds
check out
cool.
Straight 8. Super cool. They do it every year. It's a cool program. But I didn't get to see any beautiful people I was attracted to over there that were celebrities. I ran into a lot of beautiful men like Charles Melton. I got a little high five from him walking to the
Oh,
out of his hotel. And here's the problem though. As tragically heterosexual,
yeah.
like it
Well,
just it doesn't hit the same.
it doesn't.
Like
I mean, it does for me.
wish
Doesn't hit the
I
same.
You know what I mean?
was, I wish
I mean, I am. So like that helps. And I've met
Well,
Charles. I've interviewed Charles and I've met him in life, and he's the loveliest guy in the world. And he's also the most beautiful guy you could ever see. And,
yeah, he's beautiful, and I'm like,
you can
God,
just
I
admit
wish,
it.
I
You
wish I
can't
was
be
attracted to you.
you can't be that talented and beautiful. It's if stop. Like it's,
Yeah.
and
The person who did that for me the first time I was in high school, and I worked at this tennis tournament in LA,
mm,
and there were a lot of celebrities that showed
wow,
up. And
Mr. Tennis. All right.
Pete Sampras's wife is Brigitte Wilson, the teacher from Billy Madison.
Oh yeah.
And I do remember, because I remember seeing her in the
That
movie. And I was like, oh yeah,
Veronica Vaughn.
she's really pretty. And then I saw her in real life, and I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, do you have like a lighting crew around you right now? What is happening?
Like it was like, or she had a ring light around her at all times, Jay. Like, just
Yeah,
hear
I wouldn't
music.
like even I wouldn't have said at the time. I was like, she's like my number one crush. But then I saw her, and it's like,
damn, yeah.
man, I wasn't meant. I gotta go back to Atlanta. This is
I gotta get out of LA.
This is silly.
Jay, is that the
I
only
can't-
time you ever been to
I
LA?
can't hang here. Well, I've been to that tournament like 3 or 4 times.
Diego, we got to get my boy out here to a film festival. I think he would love it.
Yeah, I know
he's-
you got it. Well,
Los
first
Angeles?
you guys both got to come back to LA when things cool off. 'Cause
Yeah.
we need some business.
Exactly.
setting up.
Next time I'm out in LA, I'm gonna come and hang out with you. I'm gonna bug
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
We'll go to a
Please
movie.
let me know. I'll have to exchange information after this.
Yeah.
And then for Cannes, like
Diego
here's the
loves
thing,
film photography.
I do love film photography.
Yeah.
It's very
There you
expensive, so I'm shooting a lot of digital right now. But I do love film.
He's
And
Don Michael Man on us.
yeah, it's great. But when you go to Cannes, like it's not the most expensive thing in the world. I will say because inflation's about to destroy this country.
Yeah.
It will be a little more expensive for us Americans, but
The travel will be the worst part. I
yeah,
think.
that'll be the
It,
so plan ahead.
that's
plan
the
ahead.
yeah. Well, I think that
Well,
not
just
to-
getting people across,
Not
the
to-
tariffs on people.
I think the
The movies have
thing
tariffs now.
I have to really say this, and I mean this no disrespect to anybody out there, but these people that think that like myself and everybody that go to film festivals like don't plan ahead and that this is just like some spur of the moment thing. We went to Cannes this year as as the editors here at the site, and we planned that a year in advance. Like that was, I mean, this is a lot of planning and preparing. This isn't like you just pull it out of a rabbit's hat and you end up there. And I mean, that's probably the same for you too, Diego. Like you got to plan this a little bit. It's a big commitment to go on any trip like that. And I mean,
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I'm writing this down. Plan ahead for
Plan ahead.
international trips.
I mean, I went back to
Interesting.
school. at
no,
the-
but people,
the
Jay,
middle of the
they
pandemic,
don't, they think that, or I see this every time, like even for like Telluride, because I go to Telluride every year. And people say, how are these people doing this? And it's like, well, okay, the passes go on sale in March, so you have plenty of time.
I mean,
to
the thing
get
for
everything. Like it's,
me with that stuff is,
I know it's time off for you, buddy. And
it's the time. It's the
I
time
know,
off.
I
That-
know.
that's
It's
hard.
my PTO. I'm like,
But I gotta get you out there to
I
one.
will see. I think if the Terrence Malick Jesus movie ever comes out at a film festival, I will do that. At the
He will
risk of
travel
divorce.
across the ocean.
Yeah, I'm
to
willing
see
to.
that.
I'm willing to risk my marriage for that.
What if they?
But
What if it
Don't do
premiered?
that.
Jay,
Don't
what
do
if it
that.
premiered on Mars and Elon got it? Would you go?
I would do it.
Oh,
I
no.
would do it.
Then Terrence is dead to me.
Yeah, what if
Terrence
Malik
would
like
not fucking do it.
allied up with
No.
handheld Elon?
God damn it. I could, oh, that would be rough.
What if Malik finally became like a public facing person, but it was with
The
Elon?
man loves Earth too much in his fucking movies to be like, let me go to Mars. You know what I mean? I just assume that's how he talks. Let me go
All
to
right, my
Mars.
grand theory of Total Recall.
I'm going to let you go. Fine.
So Total Recall is a great film. The thing I will say about it, having just watched and discussed RoboCop, is I think it is a far more thrilling, exhilarating, sort of sensory, pleasurable film to watch. I find it less thoughtful. It is a film in which a guerrilla revolution occurs, but it's not about the guerrilla revolution, kind of. It's more about the plot and kind of the mind-bending sensibilities of just watching the film on a very kind of surface level. And I love that about it. It rocks from just a I am sitting down and watching a movie perspective. It's great, like absolutely phenomenal. There is a small part of me that kind of laments the fact that this is one of his less thought-provoking Hollywood movies. And I feel like I'm almost grading him on an unfair curve in that regard. But for me, it's just kind of like, I wish there was a little more venom to this, like RoboCop and Starship Troopers and some of his other movies. I mean,
Let there be
Showgirls.
carnage. Well, he said
There
Venom.
is
I was
some
just-
carnage in this movie, to be fair.
I was just
He does
is
let
there.
there be carnage.
The Last Dance.
But I love this movie. I think Arnold is phenomenal in it. It is such a good looking movie. The Goldsmith score is unreal. Aesthetically, just one of the all timers for me. And honestly, as I talk about that, and I'm like, why am I dinging this movie at all just for being not as thoughtful as RoboCop while also being more thrilling than RoboCop? It's like there's a balance. It's all on kind of on this scale. And on balance, it is as enjoyable for me as RoboCop without being quite as sticky as RoboCop is for me. That's kind of where I'm at on it. It's great. I might like it more than I did 2 minutes ago when I started talking about it, just because it is such an enjoyable experience to watch it. I'm hooting and hollering pretty much the whole time. And again, I think it has. I think it is one of the greatest effects movies ever made. After Verhoeven was like, "I'm sick of these effects, man. I gotta move on to something else." And also, the affection that Arnold and Verhoeven have for each other is so adorable. It's just great hearing them talk about each other, reading their quotes about each other. It's great. I love this movie a lot. It's so good. It's better than I thought it was. As I'm talking through it, it's like, why don't hold that against
Don't hold it
you know?
against it. I think that your problem is that we watch these films fairly recent and they are back to back. You could judge it, but why would you?
Well,
Because this
RoboCop
movie
just has so much bite to it.
Yeah.
And then this I don't this is sort of like the bite is kind of
It's there.
tangential to the core of the movie. Which is okay.
It's
But
still
there's
there.
part of me that's like, you know what? I like Verhoeven real mean. Real mean. And this is only pretty mean.
Yeah. Diego, your thoughts on Total Recall?
Yeah, it's definitely more optimist. Now, I think part of that is a little bit hindsight 2020 as well, because we just talked about how like there was almost a Total Recall 2, which would have been an adaptation of Minority Report, where Quaid teams up with the mutants and they set up the precog stuff. That sequel doesn't exist, so this movie as it stands, you can still read whether or not he dies at the end, basically, if this is just a death dream. You know, that revolution is only a fantasy. And that's why, in a way,
Yeah.
it could be read as like, that's why it's so much more thrilling and engaging, because it's like the fantasy of like a better world can only exist in the brain of a dying man, which is like an incredibly vicious note to think about a movie on. But that being said, it's like, it does give credence to whatever interpretation of that you want. And just fundamentally, you're right, Jay. Like it is such a fucking thrill ride. Like when Ronald Shusett of the Alien franchises, was like trying to produce this movie. They basically get Cronenberg to kick himself off the project because Cronenberg, who's trying to make this movie happen, he was writing it like a Philip K. Dick story. And then
Yeah.
Ron Shustet's like, "What are you doing? You're doing a Philip K. Dick story."
Ever
And
heard
he's
of
like,
Indiana
"What?"
Jones?
Yeah, they wanted Raiders of the Lost Ark in
Yeah.
space. And hey, not a bad idea. Maybe, get you gotta get some ideas in there. It's Philip K. Dick, and then Verhoeven's clearly the guy who can like kind of combine all these different threads and make it like a functional movie.
Cronenberg's the guy that came up with Quado.
Yeah.
There is no Quado without
That
Cronenberg, which
makes total
entirely makes
fucking
sense.
sense.
Yeah.
When you look at it and you're like, oh my God, the thread of a David Cronenberg movie where there's like this haunting element to it, but then there's also this
Body
tenderness
horror.
and
Yeah. I mean, yeah, totally Cronenberg.
Cronenberg, what a good guy. God,
Yeah.
gotta love that guy. Did you guys watch The Shrouds?
Haven't seen
Not
it yet.
yet.
No? It's a
No, I
really
need
interesting
to.
movie. I wasn't as high on
For
it.
me right now, it's still shrouded in darkness.
Oh my good God. Damn it. Sometimes with you. I swear to God. But yeah. I think this movie rules. And actually
Yeah.
to your point, Diego, I do kind of see it a little bit like that. It's kind of hard not to with Verhoeven's work at this time.
Oh, I think it's like a pretty literal movie.
I don't think so, buddy.
That's
I
my
think,
take on it.
I think that
The
it's
Philip
there.
K. Dick story, which I read, is a very literal story. Not that it's very. I mean,
No,
one,
I
it's
mean,
like
you're
20
right.
It's like 20 pages long.
Yeah.
But that is a very like, here is what happened.
Yeah.
This guy went to this facility and we did not implant the memories in him. In fact, the preparation for that procedure awakened in him the memories of him actually being a secret agent, and then in turn him actually being like the most important man in the universe who prevented an alien apocalypse. And in this movie they take it in very much a different direction.
A little bit. Yeah.
But I think it's, and I think even listening to that commentary with Verhoeven, I think even he's kind of like, yeah, you can kind of interpret it this way, but it's like kind of is what it is. I don't know. I understand other interpretations. I think this is, that straightforwardness is kind of what makes it as thrilling as it is, but also
That's
for
true.
me is what bumps against me like 0.5% of like, which was slightly more challenging. But
I don't know.
anyway.
But again, I think that it does have that. I think there is that, to Diego's point, there is the cynicism in there that you could totally
Definitely cynicism.
that you could totally go with that ending as well. Or if you just want to get at, it's kind of the RoboCop thing that we talked about, which is if you want to just think of that movie as an action movie, shoot 'em up revenge sort of style, reclaiming of one's identity, you can do that. But if you actually want to look deeper at the themes going on in the film, Verhoeven's got you covered there too. And I think that's the same thing's going on in Total Recall. If you want just like a fun Arnold thrill ride, you can watch that movie. If you want to think about the fact that like all this is happening in a guy's favor in a world in which no favors are actually being given to anybody, and that everything, I mean, the fact that they survive out, there in the, against all odds out there without any helmets and stuff on Mars and all that, the whole ending is like kind of a fever dream, really, when you think about it. And there's no everything. I mean, in action movies is sort of a MacGuffin, but also just feels very coincidental in how back up against the wall they are by the third act, and how every domino falls precisely the way it needs to. And the only way that happens is in, I think, another reality or dream. And I think that that's it's the inception spinning top of it all. Is, do you think that it's real, or do you think that it's going to fall? And whether
This movie is so much better than
I know it
Inception.
is. I'm not trying to get you to talk about Inception. I'm just saying it's a little bit like that, and I kind of feel that vibe of these two films. Not to saying that they're the same thing, but it's the delivery system of an ending and what you've been watching on this ride that the director is presenting to you. Do you think that this is real, or is it fantasy? Is the top going to fall? Is it still spinning? What do you believe? And that is up to the audience. Now, Verhoeven is a little bit kind of leaning more towards one way than the other, but he still is allowing the audience, I believe, to have that interpretation out there. I think it's a little bit actually the other way over the other, but I still think either way, it's a damn good movie. And I have a lot of fun with this. I think this is one of Schwarzenegger's best films, period.
It
And
is.
Verhoeven and Big Jim knew how to utilize that goofy
Arnold worked with
motherfucker.
some great filmmakers.
He did, but these two guys specifically, I think, knew how to use his persona and his limitations as an actor to their strength. And
Verhoeven loves Arnold.
he loves him.
He loves him.
And I think that, the twistiness of all this bleeds perfectly well as the other side of the coin, or a continuation of the themes found in RoboCop, which is this, but even more so, this corporation and in this conspiracy
It's going
of this
from
guy.
Detroit to Mars.
Detroit to Mars, and it's literally with some of the same actors as well too. Of that, the system just reforms itself and changes, and it doesn't matter if we're on our planet or far away. The same problems and the same obstacles are always going to be in our face. I think it's a brilliant film. I like RoboCop a little bit more, but I still think that this is a damn good movie. I still love this movie. It's so rewatchable. It's so much fun. And again, Jay, it has one of the great lines. It has many great lines in cinema history, but it has one of my favorite Arnold lines ever. Do you guys know which line?
Consider this a divorce.
That one's up there.
No, not that one.
okay,
Not
then,
that one.
See you at the party, Richter.
See you at the party, Richter.
That's a great one.
It's one of my favorites.
That's good.
I love that line so much. And and also too, the movie's fucking funny as hell. It's super silly. And we need to go back to having some silly, fun, big, stupid movies that actually mean things. Like, and
Well,
to your
that
point,
line,
Jay.
That line, I mean,
To your point, Jay.
You know
hang
what
on.
my answer for what is the 21st century Verhoeven?
It's what?
It's Crank, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Neville Dean and Taylor, baby.
But that was a while ago.
I know.
It was a long time ago.
Where are those guys?
Gamer.
Where are those guys?
I think they split up as a tandem.
Yeah, they split up. I
Yeah.
think one of them is
Did they make the Ghost Rider sequel?
more conservative.
They did. They made that Mom and Dad. Was that the movie with Nicolas Cage? Is that what it was called?
That was one of them. Yeah, Mom and Dad.
That was just one of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which one's the conservative one?
I forget, but I think it's
I don't
the one
want to
that's not
ruin
really
your
making
Google
movies
Drive
right now.
and figure
Neville
that
Dean
out.
and or Taylor.
Neville Dean or Taylor. Well, I mean, that kind of makes sense. I mean, like, Gamer is kind of weirdly in the universe.
Gamer
of
is a
Total Recall.
fascinating movie.
Yeah.
That movie should be the modern Verhoeven, and I don't hate it, but it's it's just not quite.
Yeah, I mean they're not. Exactly
It's a little too
I
serious for me.
genuinely think the two Crank films are. Fantastic.
Well, you know what? Speaking of,
but-
we were talking off air about me going to my local Blu-ray place to get them on the cheap, and I texted Jay that I got Gamer for $1.99 at a half price bookstore near me.
I mean, was it a
And
blue?
It was a blue.
$1.99 blue.
That's a steal. You know what I mean? And so
That's just like DLC. That's like buying a Fortnite skin.
yeah, do you Fortnite? You don't.
No, I don't Fortnite. I actually don't know how Fortnite works, but I see
Diego,
you can buy
do
a
you
skin.
do you Fortnite?
I don't know.
No,
you
I'm
get-
barely getting back into video gaming, and I'm like, I'm gonna play Resident Evil 8 for the first time. So I'm,
I just
I'm
bought
very
that
behind.
Indiana Jones game.
I was going to ask you if you bought the Indiana Jones game. We played.
Haven't played it yet.
Megan played it, my wife, and
Yeah.
my wife, and she loved it. She loved it. So
Yeah, people seem
I'm
to like
excited.
that more
I'm
than the
excited
last
to play
movie.
it.
the last movie.
I like the last movie.
I did too. I thought it was okay, and I thought the ending was really sweet.
The ending rocks.
I think it's kind of poo poo. But
He's
I'm
not an
also,
action director. He's a drama director.
He is.
That's
I
the
wish
big
it was-
problem with that one.
but I like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
So do I. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Woo.
I like parts of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I
I know.
rewatched it recently. The good parts of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull are so good. And
The highs are
bad
highs
parts
and some of the
so
lows are
bad.
low. But
Yeah.
Crystal Skull is less well written than Dial of Destiny. Dial of Destiny is not nearly as well directed as Crystal Skull. That's my
Bingo.
overall take.
I think Steven Spielberg is a better filmmaker than James Mangold.
Ooh,
I'll
hot
say it.
take?
I'm going to put it out
What?
there.
That's
I'll say it.
I don't know. Are people going to agree with that? I don't
Can
know.
Spielberg do a complete unknown? But can James Mangold
Oh
do
my
the
God.
Fablemans? Get out of here.
What
Yeah,
is,
right
what
there.
is
We have our answer.
There you
I'm
go.
trying to-
And I love
okay.
James Mangold. I love Mangold. This is not disrespect to him.
Man, there were a lot of disingenuous fucking stuff when the Fablemans came out of like, why does anybody care about the Fable? If it wasn't Steven Spielberg, and I
Here,
was
I'll,
like,
Yeah,
I
but
will.
that's
I
the
will
point!
say
He
something.
is
I will
Steven
say.
Spielberg.
yeah, that's the point.
I'll say something that's very
Uh-oh.
personal, and I'll get maybe we'll find a way back from Total Recall or to Total
Okay.
Recall with this.
Yeah, okay.
My hometown, which I also still live in, is where he shoots the camera store stuff in the Fablemans.
Oh
And as
man.
God.
someone struggling to get into the industry and having worked very hard lately on a lot of stuff, that movie hits harder than ever for me. And in the back of my mind, I was always like, well, if I made a coming of age story movie, I would obviously do it on in this area of the town. This is so scenic and everything like that. And then I heard Spielberg was coming to town, and I was like, well, as long as he doesn't touch that area. Oh, no, that's the exact block of road. Okay.
You were Barry Keoghan. There goes that dream.
Yeah, a little, but you know what? It's
But
Spielberg,
also, like,
maybe
it
the most
also kind of
important filmmaker
validated you in
alive.
some sort of
Yeah, it
way.
validates your
Yeah.
vision.
Yeah, I was like, oh, and if Spielberg did it, it's fine. It's not some fucking
Yeah.
hack job. It's
Yeah, it's not
arguably
like
the
Osgood.
Neville
greatest
Dean
living
and Taylor.
director.
Yeah, it's not Osgood Perkins. You know what I mean?
Wait,
Hey,
whoa. He
actually,
seems like
we-
a decent guy.
No, he's a piece. No, he's a piece of shit. God damn
Oh,
it.
okay.
I don't care for
He's
his films,
such an
but
annoying prick.
his interviews are a
Yeah.
little grating. But
My God, I had to
I don't
listen
know.
to him
Remember how
blabber
good
on
the
after
Fablemans was?
the monkeys. Well, I think it's one of the top 3 films of the decade.
I
so
might
far.
be
I agree.
forgetting. I might be forgetting something obvious, and I probably am. Has Spielberg ever done just like a straight up biopic?
What are you talking about, fool?
No, I know. I might be forgetting something like very obvious.
Lincoln?
Lincoln. Okay, boom, done.
You
What
got
about
me.
the
What
president
the
of
fuck are you
United
talking
States?
about? How
I
about
forgot.
Catch Me If You Can? That's a
Catch Me
biopic.
If You Can is not a biopic.
If? Okay. Schindler's List?
Schindler's List is not a biopic.
What do you mean it's not a biopic?
It's a docudrama, not a biopic.
Oh my
I
God.
think we're getting. It's
I think you're
psychological
stretching
thriller.
it.
It's not really.
I think
horror
you're-
type
Lincoln,
territory right here.
Lincoln, I'll give you, but the others I will not give you.
What about The Post?
Docudrama.
Okay.
God, all right.
I think it's a wide umbrella.
I
and
think it's a
Spielberg's
very
covered
wide
it
umbrella.
very
I think
well.
he's in there.
Honestly,
I think he's
his
done it many
biggest-
times.
His biggest biopic might be The Fablemans. It's just
Yeah,
Okay,
a little
yeah, but
bit.
but it's
Fake
also
biopic.
it's not his name. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. So he hasn't, except for
Yeah.
that one time.
And so it's all fiction.
Yeah.
You're so
Well,
full of
look
shit.
here. I can get us back on track right now. You
Thank
ready?
you,
Ready?
Diego.
All right. So they wanted this to be Raiders of the Lost Ark. Could Spielberg have directed Total Recall?
Absolutely
Like
not.
of the 90s, not the 2000 Spielberg,
Oh,
who I think
man.
could have imbued this with the same energy as Minority Report now.
Man,
You know,
what
gets
do
us
he
a
have done
real
with
cynical
the
bone.
lady? with the
1990 Spielberg. This is always Spielberg. This is
Okay.
this is Oscar
This is Hook.
searching Spielberg.
But do you think he would have been as vicious? Like,
No.
I mean, we're just talking down.
No.
When has he
No,
ever
no,
been
no.
this? When has he ever? I mean, it doesn't
He
take till
has
the-
been this vicious from AI to Munich to Minority Report to like
Catch Me
that
If You Can a little bit.
5-year
as me,
period.
yeah.
I agree, but that's almost.
But
10
it
years
takes
after.
Right. No,
It takes like
1990
30 years
Spielberg
for him to
could
get
not
to that
have done
point.
this. Yeah.
Becomes like in his 50s, and he's just like, "Fuck these movies."
I think Cronenberg, Verhoeven, that is the kind of person you want making this movie.
Yeah.
You know who was originally cast as Quaid, or in the story, he's Quail,
Yeah.
a Spielberg collaborator,
Mhm.
Who?
Ricky Dreyfuss.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Richard
that's the
Dreyfuss.
Cronenberg movie right there.
It went Dreyfuss, Jeff Bridges. Then they were like, okay, let's Hollywoodify it. Swayze.
Ooh, so
Then
would have been bad.
De Laurentiis went bankrupt and it became Arnold. And Arnold was the real kind of like thrust of the production.
Bridges
It
could
became
have
an
been
Arnold
interesting.
Schwarzenegger production.
I think Bridges.
And he
would
wanted
have been
Verhoeven, which is cool.
Yeah, I think that it works.
Even
I
though
mean,
he
that's
didn't
what-
get RoboCop.
Yeah, that's what makes Arnold stand out from like a lot of the modern actors who want to be like movie stars, action stars. Like Arnold's like he looked for interesting directors
Yeah.
to tackle projects, and there's plenty of great actors these days, plenty, but I don't think they have the training or the know-how to like to look for the next Verhoevens, you know, to look for the next like Camerons or Spielbergs or whatever. They're kind of slotted into specific roles, and it's like,
Yeah.
who would do this movie now? You know,
Well,
and
that
it's like,
farm system just doesn't really exist either.
no,
You,
no,
you
it's all
don't grow
collapsing.
into your movies. You make Safety Not Guaranteed, and then you make Jurassic World.
We don't
No.
have,
Oh,
but
jeez.
back to your point, Diego, we don't have, we have a lot of great actors. We don't have movie stars. That's the problem. And Arnold's a movie star. And the thing about,
I think we'll get some more
I think we
eventually.
will, but we have to like, we're like literally,
Timmy's there, man.
you know what we're doing?
I'm telling you.
Well, that's already established. We don't have to
You
like
know, I'm
worry
like,
about Timothy
you know,
Chalamet
I you know,
anymore.
I used to be the biggest Timmy
You are,
skeptic
you're
around.
like all on the Timmy train.
I was off the Timmy train, and now I'm choo
He's
choo,
bought all,
baby.
he's
Seeing
trying
him
to buy as
courtside
much
at the
stock as
Knicks
he
games.
can. He's like
Yeah.
bankrupt. He's like every penny he can. He's like, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I think
Yeah, I'm overcompensating for how much of a hater I was.
I think Pal's there. I think
I
he's
do
there.
not.
You don't think Pal's there?
No, definitely not. I mean, it's nothing even
Butler?
remotely resembling Arnold.
No. I'm just saying, like in the modern context. I'm not talking about in Arnold's context.
I actually don't even think
Timothy Chalamet is not even in Arnold Schwarzenegger's
No,
context.
I don't
either.
think Powell's there. I don't think Butler's there.
It's 1-1. That's it. There's only one. We only have one movie star.
I mean, you've got the older guys.
I mean, yeah, we got all the.
Ask
I'm
me
talking
about
about
movie
of their
stars.
generation.
Movie stars under 40.
Can I put a name up there?
Yeah, please.
Michael B. Jordan.
I would say yes now.
Sinners helps
I
big
think
time.
he's close.
He's got a franchise. Sinners. He's a director. People know him.
I think after this,
I think he's close.
it won't be a question.
Yeah.
I understand the skepticism now, Jay, but I think after Sinners, which is the greatest film ever made, I think it's that conversation's over.
You think it's the greatest film ever made, or are you just being?
No, the greatest film ever made.
No, it is one of my new favorite movies for
Yeah.
sure, though.
It
Like,
kind of slaps.
yeah, that was instant.
No, it
5
rocks.
stars.
That
Like,
movie rules. Yeah.
You know that moment when Kugler just is like, "We're gonna go to the history of music in the middle of this song," and I like levitated in my seat
yeah.
in a packed audience of people. And I
Every
was
time
like,
it gets-
I was just like kind of looking around, being like, "Do you guys understand what's going on here? He's doing things you shouldn't do with this kind of money, and it rules."
Man, Keira Knightley only just turned 40.
What the?
she was like 17.
Who
And
you
She's been
talking-
around forever.
Where did this come from?
I just
the movie stars
googled.
conversation.
I literally just googled movie stars.
Oh, okay.
And there is no one. Jennifer Lawrence is the only young person under 40 in the first like.
Oh,
50
she could
results.
qualify. Soon,
She
I
does
think.
qualify big
Yeah.
time. She
No,
does.
Jennifer Lawrence, I agree.
Stone.
Morgan Freeman,
Emma Stone.
Sylvester Stallone.
Does she count?
Emma Stone is a weird one because she's kind of stopped doing
It's like in the
commercial movies.
But she's a big enough name where she
She can
can.
get small stuff made.
Yeah, she
She's
can.
in the Pattinson zone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people
Pattinson's
showed up
like
for
that.
Poor Things.
Like Pattinson's a great actor, but nobody showed up for Mickey 17. You know what I mean? But I don't think anybody was going to show up for that thing. to be
Like I
fair.
don't even.
But he's also the Batman, so it's
the
like,
most obvious.
fuck are you? anymore?
The most obvious, of course, he's a movie star guy, but maybe he isn't actually a movie star. Is Gosling? Is Gosling a
Yeah.
movie star?
Yeah, he is.
That's you know what I want to say yes too, but
Gosling
and I
would-
love him, but he can't fucking open a movie.
He can't open a movie.
I think Gosling would be great in a Total Recall remake. I think he could do
I
that.
think Gosling
Yeah.
would be great in most stuff.
Yeah, he's great in
Nick
everything.
Ref in Total Recall.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, all right.
Oh,
Visually,
whoa,
that
whoa.
would be interesting. I will
That
say
would-
that. On the
That movie
page,
would
I
get
don't know.
people fired. Like,
Yeah.
it would be in my top 5 of the decade.
Who was that? Who was I gonna say? There was somebody else I was gonna say. But anyway, no, I well, Zendaya.
not-
There's
joke.
there's no
Zendaya
there's no
is a
Arnold.
movie star. Yeah, I think
There's
she
no
is.
Arnold. That is
No
for
Arnold,
sure.
no.
No, there's no Arnold,
You got to
and
rebuild the industry a little for a bit.
there's no like. I mean, the person that is kind of put themselves in the action superstar world is both Keanu and Cruise. Like they are now the slot because of the Wick and the Mission Impossible for and Top Gun Maverick. Like they have taken over that Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger spot, but they just elevate it now with these two franchises. But Arnold, you know what? When I was thinking about a lot, Jay, when I was watching this movie, I was thinking about like, God, James Cameron must have watched the first like 40 minutes of this movie and thought, man, he could do True Lies. Because like I was seeing sort of the parallels
Like
there
he
a
had a
little
pretty
bit.
good relationship with Arnold by this point.
Yeah, I think that I
Probably,
think there was a little bit of the parallels.
probably
I
had a
think.
feel for Arnold,
Yeah, he probably
I
could,
think.
But I think at this point, Arnold was sort of diversifying what he was doing as an actor, with his action films, but then he also had in the 90s he started venturing into comedies and family
Oh yeah, he
films and
became a
everything.
comedy
He
star
was
first and foremost
huge
in the
and
90s.
and honestly able to poke fun at himself, which is what's so great about him in this film. It's
I
like
think Arnold is just an incredibly likable guy,
he's a
extraordinarily flawed human being. You get him in an interview, I'm like,
stop.
this guy rules. Like this guy is awesome.
Yeah, but just I don't want to talk about the country.
He goes to the interview, like the variety interview or whatever it was with his son, and he's like, I wasn't expecting to see a weenie. And I'm like, what a guy. This guy is so cool.
I,
What a funny guy.
yeah, but then he's literally one of the worst governors in California history. So it's like to each their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then
Remember,
all of a
remember
sudden
that
he
ad
became
happened?
like, but
Oh, I
then
do.
he became the voice of like reasonable conservatism in
Yeah,
the last like 10 years. I mean, it's such a weird
it's
arc
so
he's
weird.
been on. Yeah.
I think people would if I mean I know this is weird to say, but if he was an American like citizen and eligible to run for the president of the United States, I think people would have voted for him now
I think so.
because we're so obsessed with celebrity
Yeah.
and our politics have sort of merged with that. But that being said, I think what's so great about him in this movie is the fact that he is the action star and he's wonderful at that. But it is that sort of naivete of his brain being switched off and having to uncover all this. He plays dumbass, so like, or just in the dark so well in this movie. And that's 85% of this movie is him in the dark. And you have to buy into that because that's the whole thing about this is you are introduced to all this corruption and red tape through his eyes, even though he is part of that problem and was a part of that problem. And that's what's so interesting about the movie. It's like once you're actually awoken and you see the problems of your world, then it's like, okay, well, can you fix it? And then that's when I started thinking a little bit. I was like, man, Total Recall, big inspiration on The Matrix. Had to be because I see his journey very much similar to Neo. And
I mean, him sitting in the chair is very evocative
very
of
evocative.
Neo
Yeah.
entering the Matrix.
And through that, I do think that Verhoeven, while he is a cynical little guy there too, there are moments where the movie stops and slows down for half a second and there's real character stuff in there and it fucking works.
It
He's just
that
great.
that has been one of the things, we're only two movies in, and I watched some of his old Dutch movies, and despite the fact that the Dutch films are like truly the works of a Dutch pervert, they also do slow down sometimes, and you're like, man, this guy really cares about the people in his movies. I will absolutely say that. I mean, the final line of RoboCop, him just saying Murphy,
Murphy.
is like that's some fist pumping, empathetic storytelling right there. You love that moment not because he's blowing somebody up, but because he is acknowledging his soul, like he's acknowledging his humanity and reclaiming his soul. And in a movie where a guy gets doused in acid and turned into goo by a moving car, right? Like he contains multitudes. And that's what's so great about Verhoeven, man. And that's true in this film as well.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Like you aren't just cheering because he blew Dick Jones out the window. Although to be clear, we also are. But like also, fuck yeah, it's like yeah, Murphy. It's like
Yeah.
Verhoeven's so good at having his cake and eating it too.
Hmm.
You know, it's like here's the excessive gore, here's the best squibs you'll ever see plowing through a bunch of nameless extras in these scenes, unfortunately. But also, it's like, hey, isn't it weird that all these things are owned by like the same corporation? Isn't it weird that
Yeah.
a rich person on a planet can just decide whether or not you deserve air to live? That would
It's
be weird.
yeah, or like, you know,
What are they fighting for? Same thing as normal, freedom,
yeah,
air.
fundamental rights,
Yeah.
you know, universal things we should all have.
Yeah.
Benny,
Not
though. We got to
not
talk about Benny.
we got to talk about Benny.
Oh, I'm
not sure
let's
about
talk.
Benny.
Let's talk about him.
He's not cool, man.
No, he's not.
No, no, he is not cool. He's not cool at all.
Okay, was that it?
That's it. Yeah, it's not.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was waiting for Jay to keep going, and he just stopped.
No, but it's.
No, I mean-
I think it is. I think it is a very good character. Where when he does reveal his, mutated arm, and then you think he's, on the side of Quato, and then all of a sudden he betrays him, and it turns out that he was working for the corporation the entire time. I would say probably maybe one of the problematic
When he
parts of that is that he is the only black character who ends up being,
Part of the narrative.
a backstabbing spy. But outside of that, I mean, it's a good character. It again adds to the intrigue of the film. That's again like a surface level
Yeah.
thrilling plot element. And this movie has 1,000 of those.
I never really thought of it like that, but yeah, I guess so. I guess you're right. But then I also too, I just think about it from the standpoint of anybody can be bought. Anybody can betray you in this world, which is what's the more kind of devastating. I kind of found that moment very devastating, to be honest, because there's not a lot of backstabbing going on in necessarily in RoboCop, except amongst the villains. And this is amongst this flipping on the other side. This is amongst Quaid and his journey. And
People we thought were heroes.
exactly. And
But that's the whole point of the movie, right? Like it's a guy who you think is the hero who ends up being the good guy who ends up being the hero.
Yeah, exactly. But then also like even Lori from Sharon Stone, I think she's a really fascinating character too. It's like she's going back and forth a little bit with
I'm still rooting for her.
I'm still rooting for her too. Like
It's
she's
hard
going
not
back
to.
and forth trying to figure out whether she should
Such a
be
babe.
she should be on his side or not. And that she's kind of sympathetic to him. But is that allegiance for who he was, or is that allegiance for what he has become, or what she thinks of him, or this version? And has she become domestic? Like does domesticity become something that she craves, and or is that
to be
part
honest,
of
she's
all
just
of it?
kind of a monster. But
Yeah. Is she,
whatever.
but also is she kind of crazy? You know what I mean? Yeah. There's all those. I think she's a really fascinating character. And I think that Stone plays her really, really well throughout the film as well.
I do think she genuinely just likes that life she kind of faked her way
Yeah.
into, Like that
I think
seems
she
pretty
talked
chill.
herself into liking this.
And
Yeah.
in the
Assignment.
commentary, Verhoeven and Schwarzenegger are just like, she is so athletic. It is unbelievable.
She
is such
doing
an
things in
incredible
this
fighter.
movie that are incredible. Don't know how
Yeah.
she's doing it.
I think her and Verhoeven should have worked together again.
Oh
think
yeah,
so?
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think there was they must have done some movie. What's it? Uh, Normal Intrigue or something like
It was
that,
that
right?
fatal instinct, the Carl
Fatal
Reiner
Instinct.
movie.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
the one. Yeah, no, Basic Instinct, which is a wild movie to show people nowadays.
A wild movie.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
No,
Imagine it.
just no notes.
Imagine, can you guys honestly, and I know we're not trying to we've got our topic. We can do whatever we want on the show. This run that we're doing, Jay, from RoboCop to Benedetta,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the wildest
it's one of the craziest runs ever.
careers ever.
My
The
thing
fact that
is
he got to
that
keep making these movies is unbelievable.
that's the thing. It's like this guy doesn't exist nowadays because
Well, it's because he did it under the guise of
these
this is an action movie.
Yeah, and it's like, but then watch
Hollow Man
Showgirls.
is the Invisible
You know
Man.
what I mean?
Oh, by the way, he's a sexual predator. Like that's the real point of the movie. Oh yeah, these guys are. It's a movie about astronauts fighting bugs. Oh, it's also about fascism and
Yeah.
Nazis.
That's the thing. It's but here's the thing. I think there's so many there's so many obstacles to get through people now to make movies. There's too many idiots that get the envelope. It's that weirdly from everyone's favorite director we talked about earlier. I think about the scene in Ford v Ferrari from James Mangold.
Yeah, that's something Verhoeven cites in all of his
No, I'm
work.
not talking about that. I'm talking about in modern cinema. I truly think there's that moment where he's talking about how a folder gets passed from everybody to get to Tracy Letts, who plays Ford in that movie. And Matt Damon explains to him, he's like, it took like 30 people just to get one piece of information to you. And I think that is, and he's like, that is not how any of this works. In order for this to work, you just got to trust us and we'll get it done and we'll win this for you. And that's what kind of movie making is, or at least it should be, not like hand holding from thousands of people where you get so many things in the pot and then movies explode and they're terrible or they aren't good or they look like shit or they're just very generic, or someone sits in a board meeting and says, you know that Disney movie that we created 20 years ago? What if we just like put real people in it and we just put it out again? And we just copy and pasted the script.
Most of the time, you need an advocate for that stuff, right? And in this movie, it was Arnold, and most of the other movies, it was we just covered Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
And the thing that I love about Peter Jackson, and the thing that endlessly frustrates me about Peter Jackson, is just like he loves his freaking toys.
Yeah. But I think these two movies,
but his movies became about the toys, where Verhoeven was like, look at these toys I have. I'm gonna sneak the most subversive Hollywood movie you've ever seen.
It reminds me
into theaters by way. I'm going to Trojan horse them in with my CGI bugs, or my giant special effects extravaganza with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That was kind of his secret sauce, and I love that he used the effects not as the thing, but as an asset to the thing that he was trying to do. Which is what people should be doing, and what has kind of been lost as effects have more and more taken over the film industry.
Well, Jay, you know who it reminds me of a lot is a guy that you and I have talked about before on our old show. Howard Hawks. I think a lot of
Howard Hawks, of course, the father of CGI.
No, I'm talking about a guy who goes into with the studio system idea or genre, but then is throwing things under or in and around a storyline that is getting past the censors at that point and doing very subversive things.
Yeah. I guess
for his time.
For his time.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't making RoboCop, but
no, he wasn't making that, but he was making, to make like Scarface and to make, some of these films that he made, to have the themes that he had in them, like your favorite film that he made, Only Angels Have Wings. Like that movie shouldn't exist at that time period, and yet the studio trusted him because he had the right star, right? He had Cary Grant.
The Big Sleep, very horny movie.
Yeah,
just snuck in.
It's got your number one girl in it.
My biggest crush of all time, whose name I don't know. She's just the girl from the bookstore.
We literally got you the name. She's won an Oscar and everything. You couldn't get that right.
She's the hottest woman that's ever existed.
If he had a time machine, he'd go back and hang out with her. You know what I mean? So
I'm a lot taller than Bogart.
I try not to like encourage like, oh, we shouldn't go back. We should always be moving forward, progressing as a society. But every once in a while, I do watch an old movie and I'm like, we do have to go back.
We got to go back. We got to do a little. We got to do a little Lost. We got to go back.
All those things you were mentioning, Ryan, about like how hard it was to even get those messages into the studio system back then. Those were people making movies at the head of these studios that liked movies.
Yeah.
Now it's people coming in from like Silicon Valley or Wall Street.
Algorithms.
That's why it's so much harder.
Yeah. And things that that are a data point rather than that's on a spreadsheet rather than seeing it live on the screen.
Algorithmic storytelling.
Yeah. It's fucking terrifying. Keywords
the
and
entity.
Things. Exactly. That's why Tom Cruise got it right. No, I just and I think that making a movie like this and Verhoeven using his movie star and his movie star championing it, but then knowing I'm making an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie in the 90s. He's the biggest movie star on the planet. I can kind of get away with some shit.
But
in here.
that is one of
kinda
my
cool.
favorite things. That's one of my favorite things is when an actor becomes
like,
the
let him do it.
ultimate defender of a filmmaker. Like Jack Nicholson did that all the time.
Yeah.
Where because he had great taste and he worked with great filmmakers
We
and
talked
he
about
had
this
the
with
clout.
Warren Beatty and Elaine May.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. And yeah, Nicholson would make, you know, a George Miller movie, and the studio would be like, I don't know what we're doing here. And he'd be
Yeah.
like, I don't care if you know what you're doing here. I'm never working with you again if you don't let him do his thing.
Yeah.
And I love that. And that's what Arnold did with Total Recall. And it worked because this was a huge hit.
Yeah, it was a huge hit. It was a huge hit. Is there anything else, guys, that we haven't touched on? Diego, have we touched on some stuff for you?
I have
About
two
the-
things. It's
Yeah.
about actors. One, the most unrealistic thing about this movie is that Michael Ironside's character is hooking up with Sharon Stone's character.
No way.
I don't know.
Not.
Michael Ironside's got that sexual energy.
You think he's got that dog in him?
He has got
I
that
think he
dog
does.
in him.
I think the real world Michael Ironside does, but the character is such a fucking
Character's such a
dweeb loser.
dweeb.
He's a little weenie.
Yeah, like I'm like I don't buy that. But like
You
that,
should have
that
been
kind
with
of-
Ronnie Cox.
That's fun. That's fun. And then Rachel Cotton is her name.
Yeah.
I think as Melina, I really like her.
I think she's really good. She works great
yeah.
opposite Arnold. She's
Yeah,
got
she
like
does.
a badass edge to her, which is a
Yeah.
great yin and yang to her and Lori in the film.
She also has a hell of an opening when they rekindle their relationship in Mars, and she grabs his groin, which is obviously quite large, because as Arnold, you got to hook up your movie stars, right? So she goes,
Oh, yeah.
"What have you been feeding this thing?" And he goes, "Blondes." It's like, whoa,
I like-
we
I
used
like
to
when-
make movies.
Yeah, we used
like
to
when Iron-
write.
I like when-
we used to write Shakespeare. You know
Like
what I
when
mean? In these things.
Ironside's guy is like, yeah, she's probably been liking it a lot. And he's like, what are you saying? That she liked hooking up with him? And he's like, no, she probably hated it.
Oh my god, no! I think that no notes. That's perfect stuff. That's the thing too. Like dialogue in these movies, they're nobody writes them better at this time. They're
I
so
don't
silly.
like Screw You. I don't think that one's very good.
Screw you.
When he uses the drill, I don't think that one's that good.
You don't think that? Yeah.
I
Take
think
it or leave
that's
it.
that's a normal Arnold movie line that kind of snuck into here. You know what I mean?
Consider that a divorce.
I mean, that one
Yeah.
rocks.
That's
Okay, you know, I didn't think about this until you just brought it up, Jay. But the other henchman, Helm, I think is the name, right? Michael Champion. Um,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
him and Richter and like all like the Rent-A-Cop people, like they're all like dorks, you know, like they're not cool. And I like
They are
that
dorks. They are not
that
cool at all.
yeah, Verhoeven knows to paint like these corporate fascists as like
they've got that.
they're losers.
They got
you know?
that same white man in a boardroom face, and he knows how to really, like you guys are saying.
But
be able to cast
Boddicker
them,
in
so-
RoboCop, you are kind of like, this guy kind of rocks.
And in this movie, it's the
Absolute monster,
yeah,
kind of a cool guy.
kind of yeah.
But
These
that's
guys,
Kurtwood Smith.
these guys,
He's got presence.
yeah,
Yeah.
these guys, dweebs, literally shaking in their boots.
And I
at
like
the
Michael
idea.
Ironside, but yeah, he's doing an effective job as a total doof.
Yeah. He's throwing tantrums, you know, when he can't catch
Like,
someone.
I can't believe I can't get him, and he's with my girl and all this stuff. Oh, it's so yeah.
And even his death is just like so pathetic.
the arms.
Yeah, that's great. But it's just like, oh yeah, that rules.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just,
great.
and then it's one of my top Arnold lines. See you at the party, Richter. It's so good. It's
that is
just
terrific.
that's just terrific dialogue.
And you know what?
right
It's just fun to do Arnold voices after watching an Arnold movie.
It is. It's so fun.
there. I still
And
see
especially
you.
after listening to a commentary.
Yeah,
Diego, when you said you listen to the commentary, do you do it with the movie? I have found a podcast feed that puts commentaries on their feed, and that is now how I experience commentaries.
Oh, interesting. I have done that. I didn't do that for this. But I have done that for other stuff because I really love listening to the creative voices behind these things. And even if they're just like BSing, you know, it's like it's fun to get some
yeah.
form of insight or whatever.
That's just like a podcast.
Yeah, it's a podcast basically. Which is what like most commentaries are now. They just go to podcasts because we don't have
Yep.
special features.
I don't like spending the time watching the movie and listening to the commentary. I think it needs to be supplementary, not complementary to actually watching the film. So I watch the movie and then it's so fresh in my mind that I can remember like the parts that they're talking about while they're talking about it in the commentary. And but if I'm listening to it while watching the film, I'm kind of like, will you guys shut up? I'm trying to watch Total Recall over here.
Yeah. I'm trying to watch this movie.
I think it depends on how often I've seen the movie. I've seen Total Recall a bunch of times. So for me, it was just like, okay, I can kind of do this. But I will say, I'm not as locked in when I do the commentary with the viewing. You know, like
No.
I kind of like, I'll get up and I'll
Right.
fold clothes, I'll put clothes,
I
I'll
was
put
gonna
stuff
say,
away, I'll do dishes
yeah.
or something, you know. But
Yeah.
it's not the same as like if I was watching Total Recall.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. Jay?
Ryan, do you know who plays
Oh.
Tony, the probably most mutated mutant?
No, sir.
The
Who?
guy with the big like half face?
I didn't look this up. Who?
It's Dean Norris.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Breaking Bad?
Hank.
Hank?
Yeah.
Talk about a guy that's milking that show for the rest of his life. Will be that
Good for
guy.
him. He was great in that show.
Yeah, he was.
I-
No? Are you
Don't
not a
do it.
Breaking Bad guy?
Don't do it.
okay, I'm gonna say this. I like Breaking Bad,
Breaking Bad is great.
but I think it's a little overhyped.
Wow, you're being a tryhard.
I think it's a little
You're being a
overhyped.
tryhard.
I think that
I'm more sophisticated. I like Mad Men.
correct.
I'm a little bit of an elevated
Yeah,
TV
I think
watcher.
that show was better, and because it's mostly because like the week before 3 weeks before the show was ending, I was
You know what you can do,
I
Ryan?
called it, but also I think Better Call Saul is a little bit better.
Like both of them.
Yeah, no,
You can like both of them.
can't do it.
I think they're both
I
great.
do like both those shows, and I also do love Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
I will say it's always funny because I'm with you, Jay. It's great, but in like Ryan's position, I've been there before. People are like, you can like both, and it's like, yeah, but I don't.
Yeah.
Like I just don't.
Like I'm never. Here's the thing: I will go back and watch episodes of Mad Men or go through the whole run.
No, but
I don't-
Ryan wound that up so long that it was like this is now my take. I'm putting my feet in the ground. This is something that is now part of my personality. I'm not sure I fully believe it, but this is what I'm gonna say out loud.
Well, you or me?
You.
Oh, well, it's the truth. Yeah. You know.
See, you're so definitive about it that I'm worried it's a farce.
Well, you do this all the time. You never let me just have
I do.
opinions.
You've got to take. You've got to have a take, man.
That's what a podcast is. You got to have takes.
My takes are good. Your takes are bad.
You know what? You're not helping with the listeners who already want me off the show anyway.
They like you more than me.
No, they do not. Look at the iTunes review. They want me out of here.
Oh,
Which I don't know how you're going to do that.
Hold on. I got to get my phone.
He's going to read. Well, we read it last week or whatever. So, yeah.
Oh, that's an
Here
old
last
one.
week,
If that's
so-
the one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's an old one, but still.
Yeah, that was old.
Listen,
They don't know what they're talking about.
they don't know what they're talking about. And either way, guess what? I'm not going anywhere
Yeah.
because I like doing the show and I'm an idiot.
No, I
So,
just like doing the show. That's all that matters.
well, I am a big dummy. I love to
Everyone-
play into it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but everyone has their moment when it's like
Everybody's
is that the same
gotta
person I was
take-
talking to 5 minutes ago.
Everybody's got to take that. I still think it's a very good show, but
I'm trying to think like what is a
I'm
what is
never
a
going back to it
performative- What's a
ever again.
performative take I have? I know I have some.
Oh well, you.
Do you like getting a rise out of people? Is that it for you as well, Ryan? Like every once in a while,
Ryan
like,
does.
we
I don't
say,
like getting a
we're
rise
not
out of
trying to
people.
pick a fight,
This
but,
was your Jim. This was
sometimes-
your James Cameron thing for a long time.
Well, that is true. Well, it's because I needed to do a giant rewatch on it.
No,
And-
but that was always your like.
Well, and Big Jim was a very bit annoying in a lot of those in the olden days. Like I save cinema and stuff. I was like, well, okay, come on, buddy. And then I watched the movies and I was like,
and you're
okay,
like,
these
this
are kind of
guy
undeniable
rules.
and these are kind of
he's
great.
kind of one of the greatest visual filmmakers
Yeah, and I
of all
can't.
time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but he also made some stinkers there too. Like,
No, I don't like all of his movies.
I don't like
but
The Abyss. And
I don't like every Spielberg
every-
movie.
Yeah. Well, Yeah, I'm the same way too. There's some
Spielberg's made bad movies.
he's made some bad movies.
He's made
Not
like
everybody's
35
perfect.
He's made like 35 movies.
Yeah, he's bound to have a couple of swings at the plate that don't land in contact. But I
He didn't make Contact.
no, he didn't make contact. That was Bob.
That was his buddy.
Yeah, that was Bob. But no, sometimes you change and evolve, and but Breaking Bad, I just don't think I'll ever go back and watch that. That's a lot of hours.
I don't think Verhoeven ever made a bad Hollywood movie.
You don't think? Well, we're going to test that theory along the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm not going to be on those episodes.
There's one that maybe I would say.
Diego, do you want to debunk Jay's pretty almost 10 toes deep into the sand theory?
I like it, but I'm like, I don't know. Hollow Man.
Hollow Man.
I mean, that's the one.
That's a borderline like evil movie.
It is, but
I'm like, I don't think it all comes together there, but it's certainly provocative.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when we watched. Is it kind of like his tone, like what Tony Scott had with Domino, or like I haven't seen it in such a long time. I don't really.
I think it abrasive in that way. Yeah, I would probably say
acquired taste.
I mean, but even Verhoeven is doing his thing though with Hollow Man, where he's giving it this Hollywood gloss. The thing about Domino is that Tony Scott makes it look like it was shot on a Motorola Razor. Yeah, and he's like, I need you to understand through the aesthetic what I am doing,
trying to do here. Yeah,
and that's why that's a banger.
Yeah,
Domino rocks.
That movie rules. Yeah. That was Tony Scott, almost a guy that you could say doesn't have any bad movies in that filmography.
Honestly, pretty dang close.
Pretty damn close.
Yeah, there's just movies I like less than the other ones I love so much more.
Yeah, I think that's the case. Yeah.
Oh, here's an inflammatory take. I'm not crazy about Top Gun.
I think you're right.
See,
I like Maverick more than
Top Gun. I have a Top Gun take, which is that it is like the 1980s version of a Busby Berkeley musical, where the power of that film is how brainless it is. That's sort of my.
That's an incredible take. Yeah, right. Yeah, one of the most beautiful movies ever made, though, in Hollywood, for sure.
Yeah, that movie's got
throw that thing on a Blu-ray on the.
I know it's all, Jay. I think that movie's a lot more serious than you give it credit for.
We've had discussions about people who think that way, Ryan.
Yeah. Jay, before we get out of here, we're going to test your award season knowledge based on the film we just had a discussion over, Total Recall. In a segment we like to call It's Honor to Get Nominated. Now, Diego, as you remember, we like to test Jay because he's the biggest Oscar prognosticator on the planet.
Yeah, I love the Oscars.
TM. He's trademarked it and everything. If you know the
sorry, I have to interrupt then. Okay. What did you think of the Oscars this year? How'd that go?
Yeah, Jay. Well, Jay got it right.
I did.
He stuck with Honora the whole time, so he was right.
Respect.
Right. Diego, did you like Honora?
I did like Honora.
Okay.
I'm a big Sean Baker fan. It wasn't my favorite of his, but I did
like
it.
It's a good movie.
What's your favorite Baker?
Red Rocket.
I'm a Red Rocket guy myself.
Like Red Rocket.
Red Rocket.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I remember. Can I tell you a quick story about Red Rocket? Jay's heard this one before, but
yeah, let's do it.
Jay. So, I saw Red Rocket at the Middleburg Film Festival, and this is a place where this is a lot of in the DC area, very
You went
rich.
to a film festival?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I knew exactly he was going to say that, but there are a lot of snooty older people, right? And that movie's got some things in it that for it was the Saturday night film, which is like a signature, or no, yeah, it was a Saturday night film, and it was like the signature film of the festival. They had Baker and the cast and everybody there, right? And I kid you not, I was watching it and I was having a good time. I thought it was very funny, very out there, Sean Baker, good stuff. But I'm looking to my left and my right, and we're the only ones in my row. My friend Charlie Bright and a bunch of other people that were friends of his, we're the only ones laughing in this entire 400, 500 people in this room. And I'm sitting there going this movie is just dying in this theater. But we are laughing with it because it's good. And this old man, I don't know, I've never seen him before and never seen him after. I look to my left and I see him. His arms are folded and he has this scowl on his face, and he is, yes, Jay, like that, but even like just angry. And as the movie's going on, and of course the decisions are made, and the as the web is being spun by Simon Rex's character, and he is just getting so frustrated. And it was honestly as funny to watch him as it was watching the movie. And I felt bad for Baker and the crew because they come out for the Q&A. Nobody applauded. It was the faintest, like 3 people in the front row and us. That's it. People went to the after party there and were just angry. And it was the funniest thing I'd never seen a crowd so displeased with the fact that they spent so much money to watch a movie before in their lives. And it's anytime I think of Sean Baker, I think of that. And I saw him this past year during the Honora run, and we talked about that moment. And he was just
you
like,
saw Sean Baker?
Yeah, I did. And he was, it was like an event. And and he went out there and we talked, and I was just like, you remember the Milbergs? And he's like, how can I forget? That was the weirdest fucking thing ever. Like, and and he's like, I don't know if I'll ever go back there because I don't think my movies are for them. And then he goes on to win Best Picture, and it was there this past year in Nora, and people loved it.
It is still kind of crazy that movie with that content won Best Picture. But you know how many laughs Red Rocket got out of me? Baker's doesn't.
Oh my god! Damn it!
That was good.
No, it was not. That's
probably even more than that. Actually,
it's a funny movie.
Probably like 3 dozen.
Jay, what's your favorite Baker?
Red Rocket. Red Rocket.
Red Rocket. Okay,
I'm a Red Rocket guy.
I'm a little bit of the basic guy. I do think Honora might be his best work. I know that seems weird, but I think emotionally
that is very weird that you think his most acclaimed film is his best film.
No, I said this after I saw it. I was like, because I think sometimes I don't connect emotionally with his films. I think that they're good rides for the most part. I think the closest thing that I felt emotionally connected to one of his films, and was Tangerine. And I feel like the last couple of films that he's been leading up to Honora. And I thought the last 20 minutes of that movie was very special. And
I think the last scene of that movie is the worst part of the movie.
You too? Oh, yeah. Well, I really liked it. Jay and I weren't on the path of some of the big films last year.
I like Honora a lot.
Yeah,
but
Diego, was there another film you wanted to win Best Picture?
You know what? I can't remember what else is nominated.
I'm sure. So is it Complete Unknown? Wicked?
Worse.
The Substance?
I would have loved The Substance to win. It's not my favorite movie of last year.
Conclave.
But to see that movie like up there with those people in that audience, that would have been kind of fun.
Conclave.
Worse.
Conclave was a good time. Yeah.
Nickel Boys.
Better.
Oh, Diego.
Maybe Nickel Boys should have won.
I'm Still Here.
I didn't see that one.
I didn't either.
Dune 2.
Worse.
What am I thinking?
I probably like Dune 2 more than Honora, but like those are good choices.
The Brutalist.
These.
Worse.
Ooh, yeah, I did like The Brutalist quite a bit.
What else is that?
I was pretty brutal. I was pretty brutal on The Brutalist.
I think that's it.
I don't know, something really messed up. Well, not messed up, just like before me and my friends saw it at the Vista, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Vista Theater in Los Angeles. We're like, oh, right, we're gonna go get brutalized. Yeah, like
I've been there.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, the movie wraps up after the second half, and we're just like kind of rubbing our heads, like, oh,
okay, so we definitely can't say that anymore.
Yeah, probably shouldn't have made those jokes the first half.
Yeah, but they were great. They were great in the moment.
Yeah,
people were cracking up.
Yeah, kind of just sat at a diner afterwards, eating some sad pie.
We gotta stop talking like that, guys.
Yeah.
Just come up as a group together. I think we should mature. Oh, and Emilia Perez.
Oh,
how can we forget Emilia
should have won?
Perez? Come on.
No, I'm not even gonna like.
Diego, did you watch Emilia Perez?
I
Did
did
you
watch
watch
that.
What was your
Uh,
favorite song?
None of them.
The Vaginoplasty?
None of them are my favorite song.
I gotta
You know
say,
what?
I
If I
gotta
have to pick
say,
one,
it's got to be that, right?
yeah, if I have to pick one, that's probably the
At
Because
best.
least it's memorable.
that's
That's
the
why.
thing about like the first half. I think the first half of the movie is a fucking wild trip, and I'm like, what? And then I think the second half absolutely sucks, like truly terrible. I don't think the first half's great. I'm like, I'm
You're at least sort of sitting there with your eyes.
yeah. You're just like, I don't know where this movie's
Why?
going, and I'm kind of
This is demented.
yeah. This is a little sick in like not a great way, but not a bad way. And then the second act is like, oh, when it gets conventional, then I'm like, oh, okay, well, you
No,
know.
at first I was kind of like, is this trying to be like a Harmony Korine movie?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
You're like,
where
well,
is
what's
this
on
going?
here?
And then it does not do that. It just sort of
There's a
fizzles a little bit.
I've mentioned this before, but there's one of the early songs in the film, Zoe Saldana is talking about like her job, and she's like, and I'm fat and my ass is big and all this stuff. And I've seen her in real life and in the film. I'm like, lady, you are gorgeous. What are
I've
you
seen her.
talking
Did you
about?
see her at a music festival? Or I mean, a
A
movie
mu-
festival?
well, I did not see her at a music festival, but I
Did you
met
see her
her.
at Coachella?
I met her at a film festival.
Oh, you saw
And
her
at
at
a
a film festival.
and
Interesting.
at an awards ceremony as well too, Jay. Yeah,
Wow.
I know. You know, I got out a little bit last
Very
year.
cool. I watched
don't know.
Amelia Perez from my couch.
Yeah.
Me too.
Did you watch it by yourself?
I did.
By myself.
Did you tell your wife what it was about?
I did explain to her afterwards.
What
the
was
story
Allie's
was.
reaction to what it was?
I mean, like most movies that I put her through, she was just kind of rolled her eyes and was like, okay.
She didn't get like, she wasn't like, wow, what the fuck?
I mean, she was kind of just like, I'm so glad you didn't make me watch that.
I played my wife the two songs that I think are crazy, which is the Vaginoplasty song and then the one with Zoe Saldana and the Doctor, which I think is the beyond just like from a lyric standpoint, the craziest fucking song
It's beautiful.
I've heard last. It's not beautiful, and I played those in the car because they're also the only songs in English, and I played them for my wife, and she said, "No," and I mean this for real. Thank you, like, and she was like,
You
"Not
seem to
even gonna
have
watch this."
Total recall of that film.
Yeah, exactly.
There we
Diego,
go.
you watched that by yourself?
I did.
Did you
I
regret
will
not
say
watching that in the theater with me?
No, I'm not doing that.
You gonna do the
But
sing-alongs? when
I
they
had
were
I have a lot of family that tunes into the Oscars, right? They're not like huge movie people, but they love watching the Oscars.
Mhm.
And I'm Mexican. I got a lot of extended Mexican family, and so we'll keep up over Instagram
Same.
and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And yeah, my people, our
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
And
That's why this works.
and
Jake, get out of here.
yeah,
This
come
isn't
on.
about you anymore. All right.
But they were messaging me like, yeah, we're not really excited about the Oscars because we tried to watch Amelia Perez and it was really bad and and family back home in Mexico is also like, yeah, we don't think we're gonna tune in this year. So it's like that movie was like a curse.
Well, it's like
And
you know,
it seemed like it might have been on track to win Best Picture too until
And then people saw it.
no,
it
I
just
think
went no
it's
when
the Brazilians helped out, and
Yeah, that's
'cause-
right.
when they
Yeah.
Because they-
exposed
Well, it was all because Carla couldn't just like shut up and let it be, and ginned up this controversy with the Brazilians, which is the number one thing if you're in the Latino community you shouldn't do is piss off any Brazilians, and because they're the mob, along with Argentinians, they are the mob, and they went after her. Thank you, Brazilians, and found all the offensive tweets that an intern couldn't find, and tanked that movie. And it was honestly kind of lucky to get it. And then, I mean, then Zoe Saldana this week went out and said that she's naming their Oscar they them, and it's got and during the middle of all these ICE roundups, and everyone's like, not the fucking time, Zoe. Like, it's never a good time with that movie at any point. Like,
Yeah.
just
And-
be glad you got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she should. And like incredible actress.
I love
in
her.
other
But she's
instances,
just got to
but
learn,
what is that?
read
Was
the
that
fucking
like
room.
Yeah,
you
was
know?
that like her attempt at being like in honor of Pride Month or something?
No,
Like,
she
what's
was
going
at
on
the
there?
premiere because she's in Elio. that the new Pixar movie.
Oh,
Somebody
that poor
asked her
film.
about it, and it's like you don't need to give the soundbite. You can just like, yeah, it's in the bathroom or something, the Oscar, and move on. So
Gamora.
good morning. Yes, Jake. Good morning. Glad
Have you
that
guys
that's
ever?
your contribution in this conversation.
Well,
Um,
have you guys ever heard really quick, and then we could maybe start wrapping you guys up or
yeah.
something. But there was when Wave Water was coming out, and like James Cameron's like all hyping up his cast and stuff like that, right? And he was like, "What about Zoe Saldana? Like in those Guardians of the Galaxy films, she plays the strong and powerful Gamora, and she's like Gamora, and it's like, yeah, he's never fucking seen that shit.
And they're owned by the same company and everything. He's like, I
Yeah, he
do not
doesn't
give a
care. And I
fucking
like
shit about any
those.
of that.
Those are my
Yeah, those are
favorites,
good.
but like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Diego, where are you at with the Superman movie? What do you think? How do you think that's going to be?
Oh,
This is the big
I don't
controversy.
understand the color grade decision. I do think Gunn has just gotten better as like as a director. I think his writing's a little wonky sometimes, but I think as a director he's consistently upped his game
Hmm.
in terms of like control of a narrative and form, um, and ensembles. But Superman's not an ensemble character, so I don't know. I've liked the emotion of the trailers a lot, and some of the little moments are sticking with me. This last one where Nathan Fillion gets up in Superman's face and he's like, "Make a move, Big Blue." Just hearing someone call Superman Big Blue. Look, I'm not impervious to this stuff. I'm like, "Ooh, they called him Big Blue." You know,
I think
doesn't mean
they,
the movie's gonna be good, but there's some stuff that's ticking me
I think they
in a
got the
positive way.
casting dead on, and I think that's halfway there.
I believe
So
this episode is coming out the week before that movie
okay,
releases.
so that's perfect. All right, so go get your tickets if you haven't got it already.
Yeah.
If you buy them on Fandango, when you select your seat, it turns into the Superman S.
By the way, we forgot to mention this episode is brought to you by the company formerly known as Warner Discovery.
What's it now called? They're
I don't know.
just
Discovery's out.
Discovery's out.
I guess they're just the
That's
bros are
whole.
back.
That's
The boys are
so,
back in
Discovery is
town.
its own thing, so
God,
they
they
can inherit all the debt, and then Warner
Yeah.
Brothers is now in the clear.
that fucking company is gonna so ruin the rollout of the PTA movie.
I
It's
think
gonna.
they really screwed up when the Warner Brothers took over and they got rid of the Warner sister Dot. I think that's where they really went wrong.
Mm.
Jay, back to the original question at hand. We got to answer that first before we
Yeah.
can get out of here. Is Total Recall, was it nominated for any Academy Awards?
Surely special effects.
You are correct. It did get a special
Okay.
achievement. Again, another Verhoeven special achievement Oscar for the visual effects went to the VFX team. So it got a special honorary award.
What's the best effect in the movie? What's your favorite effect?
Oh, I think it's the
The three-breasted lady.
Quado. That's what
it's
I thought you were
Quado.
saying.
But
Oh.
yes, the three-breasted lady is
I think it
high up
is
there.
the Arnold
I think it's
getting revealed with the 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I think
That
that's
is
my favorite
amazing.
effect.
I think that's good. I think the stuff at the end when they're out of oxygen.
Yeah.
I
Also,
think
the
that
the
stuff's great.
opening of this film is so phenomenal when he loses his or gets sucked out into the vacuum and his eyes start popping out of his head.
It's good
That
shit.
effect rocks as well.
Yeah. It's just great stuff left and right. Jay, anything
Quado.
was it nominated for anything else?
I'm gonna say Quado Best Supporting.
No.
I don't think it was nominated for anything else.
It was nominated for Best Sound
Okay, good call.
and Best Sound Editing.
Okay,
Best Sound Effects Editing.
great.
I don't know what they were doing at the time with these sound categories. I really think that they had it one as mixing and then they wanted to call it sound effects editing, would be then editing. And so but anyway, it was nominated for both. It lost best sound effects editing to a great film as well, The Hunt for Red October, which
A
is
great film.
absolutely
Yeah, can't be mad at that.
banger of a movie. And then it lost best sound to the movie that dominated the Oscars that year, which was Dances with Wolves. This is the year of Dances with Wolves,
Of course.
Awakenings, Ghost, The Godfather Part 3, everybody's favorite of that trilogy, and Goodfellas.
Oh, interesting. Goodfellas did not win, but good call by them.
You think so?
Certainly has not sustained over time or
Yeah, it's not like
anything
maybe
that.
one of the greatest movies of all time.
It's
Yeah.
not the most obvious answer for best Scorsese film by many metrics of
Is that your favorite,
viewers.
Diego? Would you say?
No, no,
No.
it's but it's also like yeah, that's probably a masterpiece, so it doesn't
What do
really
you got?
matter.
What's your number one?
Scorsese? Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Jay, what's yours? Is it Casino?
Mine is Casino. Yeah.
If I take Goodfellas out, which I think is the universal correct answer, like you're saying, Diego, I think the next one up is The Age of Innocence for me. And then I think King of Comedy's up there. And then listen, I stand alone on an island by myself. I think The Aviator rocks. So that's just me.
Are you? I love The Aviator.
Thank you. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Finally, a brother in arms.
Yeah, no, you want to see someone get real lonely. My first Scorsese was The Departed.
Oh,
Blew my mind.
yeah.
And as I got older, you hear people say like, "Oh, well, it's not as good as the other stuff," and like that. In some ways, that may be true. Revisiting that again, I was like, "No, we've been underselling this movie. This is." An
I go back and
incredible
forth on it.
movie. Yeah,
Because like for a while when Jay and I we rewatched it, I was like, I don't know, it's kind of not that great. Watched it on a plane like a year and a half ago, and God, that movie moves. It's
yeah.
good. It's not great.
Also, I'm a huge Raging Bull
It's
guy.
not bad. Oh, you love Raging
Incredible.
Bull.
Love Raging Bull.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know because then sometimes I'm like,
He's a good filmmaker.
like
But I mean-
After Hours, I'm like, and that's up there for me.
But also like Killers of the Flower Moon, man.
Killers of the Flower
What
Moon
a-
is
what a
incredible.
movie.
Wolf
Silent-
of Wall Street, which is
Silence.
The
like-
Irishman.
The Irishman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are both like probably my top
I think
five.
Silence is up
Irishman.
there.
Good film.
I think
Silence,
like
yeah.
Silence is. I mean, that man's been trying to talk. Has
Boxcar
been talking about
Bertha.
Okay, well maybe not.
Color of Money.
John Cassavetes rolling in his grave.
Color of Money just rips. Even a movie like Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. That movie is very. I mean, like the guy's the goat. What are we even talking about?
You know what? Age of Innocence might be it, but it's like it's hard to pick.
It's hard to
It's
pick.
really hard.
It's hard to pick. The Academy. Jay? Would you nominate Total Recall for Best Picture?
I've never seen Awakenings.
You never seen Awakenings?
No.
It's good. I think
Okay.
it's good. Yeah, I
You
think.
sound a little more enthusiastic about Total Recall.
Well, I mean, it's Total Recall. I mean,
So
I
go
think
with that. Awakenings, you're out of here.
I would rather Awakening stay. I can get rid of Ghost. I'm not. I don't.
Yeah,
see-
Ghost is okay.
I'm the.
Whoa.
I mean, I like Ghost.
I can get rid of
Ghost.
I can get rid of Godfather 3. I can tell you that. That movie doesn't need to exist.
I've never seen Godfather 3.
Is that
No?
real? Are you serious?
Have not seen it.
J Dog,
Just haven't seen it.
you gotta
I know
watch
Ryan's like, yeah, fuck that movie, but also
it. But also, you should watch it.
I know, I'm just like
for the
every time
because this
I
guy's
do-
Mr. Completist,
I
and he
do a
always loves to
Godfather
watch everything.
marathon, and I'm like Godfather 1 and 2, absolute bangers. This is great. Should we watch Godfather 3? I'll get to it eventually.
Watch the Coda version, the new version.
I own it. Yeah. So I
That's
need to watch
it's
it.
actually a little bit of an improvement because they cut out a lot of Sofia
heard that.
Coppola.
I think there's a lot of great stuff in it, and I think it has the perfect ending. Like it's perfect.
The Coda version,
Uh,
or just
did
the
they change it? Oh no, they added a little bit in
Yeah,
there.
a little bit to
Yeah. Both versions I think are perfect for that story.
yeah.
Other
Kind of surprised that it's the property that people have refused to touch. Because
Yeah.
we're in a world where you could just fucking make that shit, and they had the TV show, and nothing's off limits anymore. It feels like, and I'm just
I
waiting
feel-
for Godfather 4 to happen.
Yeah, I'm sure they
You know?
talked about it for a while, but I do
They-
feel like there are some things where it really is like, no,
There's no-
we're not doing it. It's like it's the Godfather stuff. You can't remake Star Wars. I know some filmmakers I disagree with have openly spoken about like, oh, just redo it, and it's like you an idiot.
Can't. No, you can't do
You're
that.
paid money for
Godfather
it.
the musical.
There you go. Or like Jaws. Jaws is another one. It's like, no, you probably can't do that. You know.
You can't do that. Casablanca,
Oh, yeah,
classics, Gone with the Wind.
Showgirls.
These are what? Which one?
Girls.
You can't touch Showgirls.
Can't no, you cannot touch Showgirls. There's
I don't think people want to.
It's untouchable.
I do think if
I
Verhoeven
want to
had
see
Verhoeven
like-
with Sydney Sweeney would actually be like the diabolical show.
Who could
Girls movie.
redo the Tree of Life? You know,
Paul Verhoeven's The Tree of
Sean
Life.
Levy's The Tree of Life.
No.
I am so disgusted.
Total Recall
by
is way better than Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves is not good.
A little slog.
Yeah. I'm slow dancing that movie.
I actually think it's pretty good, but I don't want to defend that movie too hard considering recent news. But it's pretty good. That's what I'll say. And Total Recall is better than it though.
Diego, you trying to not get in trouble?
Well, it's just
it's smart move. It's smart move. Yeah.
What else would I do here?
We're not going to get those Horizons.
No,
adapted
not even at all.
Play?
Remember when they were like big on that, where they're like, we're going to get all these 4, and then they're going to release 2 in 1 year, and now
I saw the first one last year, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, but I'm interested to see where it goes. And now
my dad was zoned in. He was like, I don't know what any of this movie means or any of these characters' names, but give me 3 more hours of that in 2 months. And then they removed the movie, and now there's all this stuff behind the scenes, and it's like, yeah, I don't think we're ever going to see those. And honestly, that'll be okay. But it's going to end up being one of those stories we're talking about in 20 years. We're like, what happened to the lost Horizon movies from Costa?
It kind of makes Heaven's Gate looks like preschool. You know?
Yeah, it makes because he's lost everything because of this. It's not like, with Heaven's Gate that like, well, that did kind of break the studio, but systems. But this is like literally, Costner is the most stubborn man in America.
Costner's doing fine.
And he's just like, I want to make this instead of making millions on Yellowstone. And it's going to cost him everything. And it's quite tragic and also very funny. And it's not the downfall of him. Not funny what's going on with the news about all that. That's what's tragic about it. Is that through all this, there is this massive, just blindsidedness, I think, that's going on in an attempt to rush to make this quote unquote art, and people are getting hurt in the process, and I think it's disgusting.
Adapted screenplay, art direction for sure, makeup, duh, unbelievable.
How did the makeup not get nominated?
Have not seen the this Cyrano de Bergerac with Gerard Depardieu. But that appears to have gotten
that's one of your favorite guys, Gerard Depardieu.
Yeah, him and Costner and Gibson and
Kevin Spacey.
My problematic kings.
Yeah. Caviezel? Your guy Caviezel?
We're eventually going to talk about the thing that I told you recently about Kevin Spacey.
Do you want to mention it now since you're teasing it?
Oh, that's a Sophia episode. That has to be, we got to.
We're teasing it, but it is truly one of. I'm just going to say this: the thing you messaged that I sent that to my wife and I told her about it. You ruined it for her.
It is a page turner.
Yeah,
it is a real elite anecdote.
You guys are saving that bullet for your show. You have to tell me immediately.
Well, I will tell you off air.
Okay.
We will tell you.
By the end of this Verhoeven series, you will hear what the story is, folks.
Okay.
And it is it's bound to blow your mind.
I would give it a handful of noms. I don't think I would give it any performance noms.
Okay.
But yeah,
not even for
I would give it a best. I would give it a best pick.
There you go.
And that's good enough.
Well, there we are. That's what it is. That's where we're at.
Sharon Stone, best important person.
This best person.
Just best
person.
Yeah.
Best latex.
Oh my God. All right. Diego, thank you so much for coming on and doing this stupid show with us. Can you tell everybody where they can find you and all your work on the internet? And Diego, also, if you don't mind, giving everybody out there a recommendation of the week. Doesn't have to be anything new. It could be a movie. It could be a book. It could be a TV show, music, whatever you want. Throw it out there. Something that you've been vibing with that you think everybody else should check out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys for having me. This was a real blast.
Of course, buddy.
I mentioned last time you guys are welcome to come on my show, but I actually want to put it out there right now. Like, let's do something.
Yes,
like
let's do it. My DMs are open,
let's
man.
figure something out. I'll get you guys on.
Yeah.
On the Waffle Press, where you can find my stuff. The Waffle Press Movie Podcast, where I do lots of other like bi-weekly hangouts, bring on guests. I'm doing a lot more like interviews with people on my level of the industry. I'm trying to get perspectives on things. And we just had my writer friend Charles A. Piper, who wrote the script for a movie that came out last year called Destroy All Neighbors. It's on Shudder. I really
Nice.
love it. I think you should all check it out.
Uh-huh.
And I do a retrospective series over there as well. We do the failed blockbusters, failed critically or at the box office, but not always in our hearts. Sometimes in our hearts as well. Something I'm vibing with. Let me think. I've been getting back into movie watching, but it's been a little slow. Let's see what could I actually recommend
There's
as I
Total
as I think on
Recall.
that.
It's a good film.
Which one?
Total Recall.
Total Recall. Yeah, I'll just recommend Total Recall. Yeah, why not? The
No.
2012 one with Colin Farrell.
Oh my God.
Yes.
No,
Oh, we didn't
no.
talk about
Actually,
that.
Recommend
actually,
We're not
something.
doing that. We're done.
No,
We're
I won't
done.
recommend that. But isn't it kind of crazy? It's like, okay, Colin Farrell, Minority Report, which is going to be the remake sequel to
Yeah.
Total Recall, which Colin Farrell later stars in the remake of. This,
Just
What's
the,
better, the Total Recall remake or the RoboCop remake?
I'm not a
I
Len
think the
Wiseman hater. I'll
I
say
think the
that.
RoboCop remake is better.
Oh, okay, okay. I haven't revisited either since they came out.
I think they're
you're,
both bad.
you're not going to catch me doing any of that.
No.
That's I got
You know
other
what?
useless crap to watch. I watch way too many silly
I
movies.
gotta watch
man.
Borderlands.
No, no. Okay, here's a genuine
Why?
recommendation. This actually fits
I
to the
gotta get
Verhoeven
to it.
thing. I recommend everyone check out Verhoeven's Jesus of Nazareth book. I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
religious. He's been trying to make this film project forever, but he wrote it as a book first, and because he can't get the film made. But it's about the historical quote unquote Jesus in
It's a
real life and trying to
secular
like
Jesus book. Yeah.
yeah, trying to maneuver between like, okay, this is what like the Bible fantastical version is. This is like as much historical documentation we could find. It's really fascinating. He's an incredible writer in all forms of his life, apparently. It's really great. I hope he gets to make that movie someday. I think it'd be incredible. His perspective on religion with stuff like Benedetta's is remarkable. Um,
Malik
and
Verhoeven Jesus movie double header. Let's go.
if those come out in the same year, my brain would explode. And I guess last plug for myself really quickly, follow my Instagram for photography stuff. I do
Great
paid photo work as
photographer
well.
Diego is.
Oh,
Just
thank you
always
very
always
much.
love when he shares some snapshots.
Oh,
There you
thank you
go.
very much. That's Diego Crespo Grams over on Instagram. So thank you for that.
All right. Jay, same drill?
Yeah. Letterbox, J Ledbetter, Twitter at Mr. J Ledbetter. Any writing I'm doing at
Yes, sir.
awardswatch.com.
There you go.
And recommendation, I'm almost done with The Rehearsal, season 2.
Oh,
And it is just some of the most elite stuff around. Nathan Fielder is a genius. And I think I watched the first few episodes with my wife, and she tapped out as soon as Nathan Fielder was being breastfed by a giant puppet. And so just
correctly,
understand,
he was being waterboarded by a giant
yeah.
puppet with milk coming
And
out of the
it
breasts.
it I I love when art isn't for everyone. And it's not that what I don't like is when people think they're smarter than other people for liking art. I
Mhm.
don't blame someone for not wanting to watch Nathan Fielder being breastfed by a giant puppet. But for a certain
But,
sensibility, it hits with such intensity
not a boy.
uh, that Nathan Fielder is like one of my absolute guys. And I don't know if you've seen the CNN interview where he actually talks about uh,
It's incredible shit. It is.
pilot communication. But he's always on, man.
Always on.
He's been terrible in every movie he's tried to be in. His presence is like exclusively for the type of stuff that he builds from the ground up.
Yeah.
But that stuff that he builds is unreal. Just some of the smartest. I mean, it's truly like philosophical stuff he's working on. Just kind of about, it's not about pilots communicating with each other. It's about the nature of showing things on film and
Mhm.
then the artifice that comes with putting someone in front of a camera, um, and mythology.
Yeah.
It's incredible stuff. The Rehearsal. Also, I laughed so hard. Most
I,
importantly of all,
I
I
think
laughed so hard.
I weirdly have said this to people, Jay. I think it's both his most insightful, silliest, and yet most accessible version of himself so
Ooh,
far
not
to
as most
date.
accessible.
I
No.
do think so. I think
Nathan for
this
You
is,
will always be the most accessible.
I don't think so. I think that I think this is more accessible than the first season. I don't think it's as mean as the first season. There's some stuff in there that I think is a little mean. And I think what was
Oh
the,
yeah, some of the stuff he does is genuine. Like the ethics of the show is occasionally
yeah.
questionable.
But I don't think this season has been as bad as the previous one. And
No,
what
not
was the
as bad.
Emma Stone show with Benny Safdie? What did what was it?
I
The
have not
Curse?
seen that. The
The
Curse.
Curse.
Yeah.
That shit's wild. And so I think of this later, newer filter stuff. I do think that it's more, and I think it's more focused. The target is more on him than it is about the
It's
people around
definitely
him as
about
much.
him. Although
Yeah,
that has always kind of been his thing.
I know,
Is
but
that
I
the,
feel
the
like
underlying theme of anything related to Nathan Fielder is how
is
lonely he is.
yeah, I just think he's an insane human being, and I think this season is great. And I showed my wife it, Jay, and she soldiered through all of it. And I don't know how she did it. We then told our friends to watch it, and we told
Would
them
never
watch.
tell a
We told
person to
them
watch it,
watch season 2.
except the people who listen to this podcast.
We told them watch season 2, and they took it as watch the whole thing. So they watched season 1 and said, "You guys are monsters." And I said, "No, watch season 2."
Oh my God. In season 1, when the kid actually starts to acknowledge Nathan Fielder as his surrogate dad is brutal.
Yeah, and they have kids that are 2.5 and like 6 months old.
Yeah, that came out
And
before I was a dad. Yeah, I wonder how that would hit now. And I can tell you how it would hit now.
I get so
would throw a shoe at the TV.
yeah, and I think they wanted to throw a shoe at us. So the rehearsal season 2 though, again, I think is much more accessible. And I think it's better. I think
It's still very weird.
it's still very weird and still very good.
I think there's maybe still an argument that Finding Francis is his most
Probably
insightful.
that, but yeah,
But
go give it a check. Okay, find me on iTunes, Spotify. Oh, well, you can find me there for the show. You can just rate and review that. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram,
yeah,
Letterboxd.
keep listening to this podcast.
Yeah, at Ryan McQuade 77. You can find out my work here at awardswatch.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Main shows on Monday if you like other podcasts on this network. I mean, we kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, but I recently did some rewatches for Best of the Decade so far because I was guesting on our friend Christina Yerling Bureau's show, and I watched the 4 of the 5 films that I think are the best of the decade, Jay, and I got to watch.
Oh, you finally got back to Cocaine Bear.
Finally wrapped that up. No, I watched a 4-film stretch over about a week span of Nope,
Great film.
The Fablemans,
Great film.
Oppenheimer,
Great film.
and Tar.
Great film.
So any one of those,
That's a good week.
it's a good
Yeah,
week.
that's a great week.
And then I've also watched Verhoeven films, so I've had a good time with
You're
myself.
crushing it.
I'm killing it.
You
Any
can
one of
watch
those,
his wild Dutch movies.
I'll circle back on those again. But I really would say go and watch Nope and The Fablemans. Jay's absolutely right on your letterbox. I think for Nope that you last wrote on there, I think that or maybe this was in the past, that The Fablemans and Nope kind of speak a little bit to each other about spectacle and about legacy and about filmmaking in a lot of ways. And
They're certainly about filmmaking.
and
They're both
so
great.
they're both great. And so I'm giving Jay a compliment and saying I think he's kind of dead on, especially after watching him. And The Fablemans, I gotta say, top tier Spielberg, and makes me cry like absolutely
Man,
insanely
I
from
remember seeing
the
the
get go.
Fablemans the first time and just being like, they can still make them like this. This is
Yeah.
crazy.
It's wild. And so
he
there's
did that back to back with West Side Story is
West Side
absurd.
Story is such a banger as well.
I can't wait for that
Unbelievable.
UFO movie next year. I'm just
Can't
gonna
wait.
say it's gonna be.
Spielberg has still got it, man.
It's got it. Him and Marty making great
50,
movies.
50 years.
50
Well, I mean,
years.
you know what happened, right? He
50
saw Nope,
years.
and he was like, "Oh man, someone's
Someone's doing it.
Stealing my
All
whole
right.
flow.
They're
Yeah.
starting to, yeah, they're
They're starting to
he
make
pulled
him
it.
like I did.
He,
All
yeah,
right.
he pulled a Soldier Boy.
Well, it's okay. I mean, like, to get him, get it
Bar for
inspired late in
bar.
your career. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. No, that's a great run you've been on, and just reminder that Nope is on par.
That
with
being
a
said, I'm
Spielberg
going to
film.
watch some trash movie in theaters that's coming out in the next couple of weeks, and Lord knows it's going to break this run of great movies. So
Superman. Maybe.
Well, I wasn't
Who
trying
knows?
to. I wasn't trying to say that. Jesus, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but hey, you never know.
How to Train Your
Hope
Dragon.
was great.
I'm not. I'm not watching that thing. No, I
Yeah.
saw the original. I told you. I'm
What
not
if somebody
watching it.
trained a dragon?
What if somebody trained a dragon? They already did 3 times.
Yeah, and it was good.
It was good.
You can
We
still
didn't
watch
need
it.
this. Yeah. Why don't you just
Dude,
make a
I'm
4th
telling you,
animated film?
The Lilo and Stitch guys, they're making so much money this year because they did both of those movies.
What are you talking about?
Lilo and Stitch guys also did How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, Chris Sanders and Dean DeBlois.
So the adaptations of those, they're making
Oh,
just
they like
hand
wrote
over
it,
fist money.
or they produced it.
They wrote
I
and
know
directed.
I know
Oh.
they directed it. They're getting.
Oh no,
getting
didn't Dean Fleischer Camp? Didn't he direct the?
He directed the new one.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
new
but
one.
I'm talking about.
Oh, they did the original.
Back end.
They're getting
stuff
back
from the
in.
original.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay,
they're just
okay,
getting
okay.
free money, and Chris
I
Sanders is still the voice
gotcha.
of Stitch.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
Chris
that's
Sanders,
smart.
definitely. But here's the question. This is genuine because I don't know. But because those were for hire jobs through Disney, they developed that property, so maybe they still get some back end. But because it's Disney, how much of that do they see? How to Train Your Dragon, I do believe they see stuff from.
Oh, they get all that.
Well,
Yeah.
Chris Sanders definitely, as the voice of Stitch, he was going. What are you going to do? Have somebody else voice Stitch? You
Yeah.
fools!
Yeah, half the budget went to him. That's why it looks like a Netflix movie. And he deserves it. I've met him. He's a very, very nice man.
He seems like a good guy.
Yeah,
Seems like a good
very
guy.
open about the industry, his process, and just a very pleasant person.
Good director too.
Good
Yeah,
director.
great director.
I'm just not going to see this new thing, but that's
Yeah, I
not.
don't-
Well, he didn't direct this one.
He didn't. Who directed this?
No, it's the other guy.
Oh, the other guy.
Yeah, he sort of took over the How to Train Your Dragon.
Again, guys,
franchise.
I'm not going to see it. So
I'll see
you
it
can-
at home.
I'm not going to see it. Anyway,
Yes, you already see it.
no, I am not going to watch that. No, I'm putting my foot down on these live action films.
I got to catch up to that, and I got to catch up to Borderlands.
Why?
I got to watch it. I'm a whatever his name is,
Eli
completist.
Roth, completionist.
Yeah, I'm a Roth.
You're a
I'm a
Roth.
Rother.
Guy. All right. Okay.
Notoriously chill, Eli Roth.
Well, next week
Yeah, he's been getting some good press lately as well.
we will be
Yeah.
back, and we will be talking about Basic Instinct, a pretty
Yeah.
chill film that has nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Pretty basic costume drama. So we're talking about
Definitely
Basic
important costume choices for some.
Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you again to Diego, and we will see you all next time.